Are we live?
We're live. Let's rock.
Are we on the air?
We are live and on the air. Let's get this 10th anniversary show on the road. This is the actual 10th anniversary month.
Oh, yes, of course, because this is now the month of September 2025, and we are officially, I wouldn't say on the road to Rising 51 because that's the end of this month. That's about 4 weeks away, but still, though. What's good, y'all? It's Chris Gary, it's JayWolf, it's King CeeLo, and you are watching a very special edition of the Focus Fights Audio podcast, audio and video version, by the way. We're basically, first of all, if you haven't checked us out the first time, when we were talking about this retrospective, and by the way, need I go ahead and mention, if you want to check out more of what we got in store, you can check us out in our Linktree page, which is, hold up, by the way, you could check us out in our, damn it, I'm trying to basically do this right now, I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, you're talking about the previous Focus Fights episode that we did with King CeeLo, where King CeeLo did an awesome 10th anniversary Jeopardy show, Rising Jeopardy style game show for us, and it was a lot of fun.
And what I'm trying to basically say is, if you want to check out more of what we got in store, you can check us out on our YouTube channel. I don't have the link down yet, but you can definitely subscribe if you're watching to this now, because there's like a good chunk of people who actually watch this, watch there a little bit and never talk about us again. Like, we want y'all to share this shit. If you really care about Rising, if you really care about Japanese combat sports like we do, you would share this shit to the masses and get this over so that we can afford to have nice things like sound effects and sponsors and all of that. We would want y'all to be just as much caring about us as we would care about y'all and whatever y'all got going on. Is that true or is that not true, JayWolf?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely like and subscribe. Check out the Linktree page. Check out all the previous episodes, especially the one we're talking about with the first episode of the 10-year anniversary of the Epic Rising Fighting Federation, where King CeeLo did an absolutely incredible game show style, Jeopardy style show for us. So it was just a lot of fun. So check that out. And today's show, though, today we are officially in the 10th anniversary month of the founding of the Epic Rising Fighting Federation. I think it's in a couple of weeks is the exact date of when Nobuyuki Sakakibara-san made the press conference of announcing that his non-compete clause or whatever it was had ended, and he was bringing the Epic Rising Fighting Federation to the world. And then in the very next month or a month after that, there was Bellator Dynamite, and we had and also from the MMA Mania crew, we had a MMA Mania meetup, and we all went to the Bellator Dynamite show. And at that show, Sakakibara-san was there with Lenny Hart and everything, and Fedor Emelianenko, and they made the announcement official at that Bellator Dynamite show, and they had pyrotechnics, everything. They had him on stage. Fedor Emelianenko walked out. Lenny Legend announced Fedor Emelianenko. It was incredible. That was one of the best events I've ever been to be honest with you. It was so fun. And this is the 10-year anniversary right now. I just cannot wait. And then this New Year's Eve will be the 10th New Year's Eve that they've done. So this is a big, huge year. And it's just, man, I can't wait to get into this review for you. These last 10 years of this roller coaster ride of the Epic Rising Fighting Federation, this thrill ride, the Epic Rising Fighting Federation with y'all.
Okay, and King CeeLo, do you want to go ahead and talk a little bit more about what this means to you? Because you're the resident historian when it comes down to this promotion.
Yeah, guys, I was on part 1 where we did Jeopardy, and then part 2 today is going to be more going over some of the Grand Prix that Rizin has put on. We'll talk about some of the best fights, finishes, and events of the promotion. there's really a lot to talk about because when you think about 10 years, I think Ryzen has done probably 60, 65 events at this point between the landmarks, the triggers.
Basically, the landmarks, the triggers, I mean, would you say Super Rising as well?
Yeah, so there's been probably 65 events, right?
Oh, King CeeLo, something happened with your mic.
Yeah, so there's more events than Pride at this point.
Yeah,
So
way more events. And years.
I mean,
you're saying over 70. I think they've got more than Pride and Dream combined right now.
well, I wouldn't say Pride and Dream combined because if you think about it, how many shows did Dream do? Like 18 numbered shows, and then you had the Japan Bantamweight Grand Prix shows, and then the Fight for Japan show, which was after the Fukushima Daiichi earthquake tragedy.
That's an interesting stat that we should look up further research. How many shows exactly was Pride and Dream combined, and has Ryzen beat it yet? King CeeLo said they have 65 plus shows between all the different formats of numbered, landmark / trigger, World Series, Otoko Matsuri, Super Ryzen. So they probably got around 70.
Okay, I'm actually looking it up now. So.
Yeah, so Ryzen has 72 events so far.
Wow, 70 plus.
I believe
nice.
That's counting Ryzen 51 and Landmark Volume 12, which is going to be happening in November. There's going to be more fight announcements for that later this week.
Yep.
We have some of the fighters that we can guess on right now, but I would say that they're going to at least be announcing 5 fights coming up on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, and we're going to probably be doing a lot of that when we're going to be talking more about that when we get to our Ryzen 50.
You guys talk about the presser.
Yeah.
Yes.
The presser that was just announced was a presser that's for in American time zones this Thursday night. And in Japan, it's supposed to be Friday night, correct?
Friday morning, actually. Well,
Friday morning in Japan. Okay.
But still, though, point of the matter is, from what we're looking at now, and we can definitely talk more about those when we get to our Ryzen 51 preview. I mean, about in a few weeks' time, barring anything happening on my end with severe weather and all that crazy shit.
And Ryzen 51 is September 28th, just for the fans that are watching.
Hell yeah, or listening.
Exactly.
But still, though, point of the matter is that Dream had 24 events, 18 numbered events, and then 6 auxiliary events, and that included the Dynamite shows and the Fight for Japan Grand Prix shows.
Pride had 34. Or wait,
Pride had 69.
Oh, they did. Okay, so that Bushido and numbered events then made it 69.
So when you add it all together, that's 94 events that Pride and Dream have done combined, which means Ryzen hasn't even gotten to. I mean, Ryzen hasn't even gotten to snip the surface yet.
Well, they're only about 15 or so events away. That's another year probably.
Yeah,
that's not bad. That's not bad. So they've already beat both companies by themselves. You have to combine them to get more events than what Ryzen has done. So pretty impressive feat.
Of course. But the fact is, I mean, with the fact that Ryzen is, let's just say it, the premier fight sports promotion in Japan. And then you got then you got K1 who's thinking about making a comeback with Genki Sudo just announcing that he's the new producer of the promotion. I mean, what are your thoughts about that? Do you think that we'll probably see more cooperation between the two, or do you think?
I would hope so, and I'm wondering if that has something to do with they just announced that King K1 just announced that they are going to be on Abima Live USA for international audiences. So I'm looking forward to watching some events with y'all. I don't know if I'm going to get this weekend. I'm going to let it go through a test run first to make sure that I see everybody's able to get it and we don't get burned. And then for the next event that's available on there, I'll probably buy that one.
Well, to be honest, they did me dirty, so I'm gonna probably find a way to see it somehow. But still, though, I mean, unless they can get their shit straight, I'm not paying a single cent toward it.
Yeah, I want to make sure that it's this weekend, as this recording, is when the next King K1 event is, and it's supposed to be available on the Beam Live USA site. So I want to see how that goes and make sure that there's no like bugs or hiccups or anything before I start, sending them money. But I want to. I'm tempted to get it. So we'll see. I might even get it anyways, just to be part of the guinea pigs to test it out the first time. But you're right. We got burned last time, so it's hard to trust them. So
I mean,
we'll see how it goes.
I wouldn't say it's not. I mean, I wouldn't say it's hard to trust K1 because if you have to think about it, K1 has gone through a lot of shit as far as trying to get their shows put over here in the Western Hemisphere to the point where they basically have trouble themselves working with Fight Sports and CSI management and all of that. But still, though,
I wonder if Genki Sudo is going to be able to smooth all that stuff out and get it back. I mean, when it first started, the King K1 Rebirth, remember that when it was on Fight TV and everything, or Triller or whatever?
well,
that was pretty cool. And then what you're talking about with that company, they sort of screwed it up with the distribution rights or whatever, and then it was messed up ever since then. So hopefully this is a fix for that. And going forward, to answer your question, I think there will be more cooperation now between the Epic Rizin and Rise and King K1. So we'll see how it goes. It's looking good for the future, though.
Oh yeah, hopefully so. Especially considering the fact that again, when it comes down to K1, it's like they've basically been on a deserted island the last few years, trying to get everything going, but only can be able to get it going in Japan, so to speak.
Yeah, because they didn't have any international distribution. I mean, we wanted to give them money and to watch their events because they have arguably the best format in combat sports. They have the Real Deal Holyfield 8-man 1-night Grand Prix format, and it's just awesome. So everybody was wanting to watch, and now we're able to. I'm really looking forward. I'm hoping that I'm probably going to get it this weekend. I'm hoping that it works. I hope we don't get burned, but it just really is pretty cool that they finally got distribution. So I expect business to pick up for them 100%.
Okay, and CeeLo, your thoughts about this?
Yeah, so Genki Sudo, he's been doing music videos, politics, so he's finally looped his way back to combat sports. I can't really see him much more as a figurehead for the current K1 regime. I really need to see how it goes because, the last couple guys haven't lasted that long in that promoter's chair.
That is true.
If he lasts more than a year, I'll be surprised.
I mean, are you sure that he'll be even able to last a year?
Yeah, he may just start doing something else, back to the music career, wait for the next political cycle.
How long did that Carlos guy last?
I would say he lasted about a year.
Oh, he did too?
Maeda afterwards, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come to think of it, y'all saying that he could last a year. Who knows if he'll even last it? Well, I wouldn't say that
last a day.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he'd last a day because you never know how things play out in those boardrooms when it comes down to making fights,
And you know what I like to see as well? The Rizin.tv. Remember Hafid on the Focus Fights show here with us, Jay Krish. Remember he was saying that he wants to turn Rizin.tv into the Fight Pass of Asia. Meaning he wants to have other organizations in addition to the library. So, I would really like King K1 to be one of those organizations. And for Hasan, he's here making comments already, and we were just talking about how it'd be cool to see other promotions on the Rizin.tv and international scene. So,
actually, Takashi Fukuhara is basically talking about the things that Genki Sudo had to go through in the election cycle over in Japan. The diets and all of that. He said that we had bid Senate election in June. Genki Sudo wasn't qualified. That's why he seeked another job.
That was also the one that Kubo did not get elected, right?
As in Yuta Kubo? Yeah.
Yeah.
Genki Suda was saying a bunch of weird things during the election cycle too, like he was talking to aliens for policies. I hope he has that same kind of input for K1. I want to see what the aliens have in store for kickboxing.
He's like,
So,
I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
Yeah, it was.
You know what? Considering the fact that him bringing back freak show fights is definitely one of the things he wants to discuss when it comes down to K1. I mean, maybe he might be talking to a few more aliens about that as well.
That, and they brought back the Heroes brand.
Yes, they have, because again, I talked to a fighter who's going to be competing on one of those Heroes fights, that being Lights Out Extreme Fighting Heavyweight Champion Blake Bulletproof Truth. And
that was right here on Focus Fights.
No, it was basically on the Focus Fights Twitter account at Focus Fights. But still, though, point of the matter is we had a damn good discussion, and I just hope that he mops the floor with Cena Karimian this weekend.
So that the fact they're bringing back K1 Heroes, I mean, you know, Sakakibara-san wants to recreate the Dynamite 2002. Was it 2002 or 2003? 2001.
2002.
It was 2002. Okay. That's what he wants to recreate because that was the biggest show in combat sports history. 91,000 fans in the Tokyo Olympian Stadium. And just then that was an incredible event. It was the Almighty Pride FC and King K1 combined show. And it was the most successful Japanese combat sports show in history. And that's what Sakakibara-san wants to get back to. That's why they have, they throw some kick on the events sometimes. And, that's they see that as the model for success because that was the most successful show in Japanese combat sports history. So, but you know what? Did you also see that article that was just, I forget what the promotion or the advertisement was. It was some ad article, a sponsor for the Epic Rizin, where they released a bunch of cool metrics and numbers and stuff. And it showed the pay-per-view numbers for 2024 for the Epic Rizin Fighting Federation.
Yeah, King CeeLo, I think you put that out in the Rizin FF fans Discord, right?
Yeah, so that was going all over Twitter. I don't know if we want to go into that in more detail right now.
No, that's okay. We'll just throw out, some of the cool numbers were that Super Rizin 4 or Super Rizin 3 with Mikuru and Ren did over 400,000 buys, pay-per-view buys in Japan, and that's they're $50 or 45-ish, depending on what the yen exchange rate is to USD, but it's around $45 to $50 per pay-per-view buy in Japan, and they scored over 400,000 pay-per-view buys for that. Those are UFC numbers. That was incredible, and they were also showing how when you average all the numbers up for 2024, it was easily over 100,000 for each event. Even some of the landmark cage shows were getting up there towards 90,000 buys, which is pretty cool. So I think their lowest one they had was like 48,000 buys or something like that. So that's, for a low mark to be 50,000 buys, that's pretty freaking good. So I imagine their numbers are getting even better this year because the shows have been absolutely amazing. So, it'd be real interesting to see what the numbers were over the 10-year period, but guaranteed, last year and this year are probably their best years ever. And remember, during the pandemic, that's when, years after 2020 for like 2020 to 2023-ish, right? Those are the pandemic years. That's when they switched over to more of a domestic product where they mostly focused on the Japanese fighters. And that's where they found out that they were a pay-per-view viable company and basically survived for the pay-per-views. So it's real interesting to see their evolution because when they started out, remember they were on Fuji TV and pay-per-view. So it was like a combination of both. And that's what really got them popular. And now Fuji TV is stupid and doesn't do combat sports anymore, and they're suffering for that in their ratings. So maybe they'll come back in the future, but they're going to have to come groveling back because Epic Rise doesn't need them anymore. They're doing so successful as the numbers show for 2024. It'd be real, and I've been asking Hafid in the Discord chat, the RIZIN PR guy, that you guys should brag about those numbers more. Because those are excellent numbers. Those are UFC numbers. King CeeLo, you had a great stat that was showing that even the lowest, buys that they got 50,000, like quadrupled or quintupled what PFL was able to get with Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
Yeah, you love basically shitting on Dummy Don Davis, don't
Yeah, so yeah, all those factors with the pay-per-view buys, the ticket sales, the sponsorships that are coming in, I'd say it's pretty clear cut that RIZIN is more healthy than it's been in for its whole lifespan so far. More healthy than Dream, more healthy than Pride in 2005 and 2006. I would not be surprised if that Super RIZIN that occurred between Ren and Mikuru was one of the largest events in terms of dollars in Japanese MMA history. So let's get to our main topic today, which is going to be Grand Prix. So we're going to go over each one of the Grand Prix throughout the 10-year history of RIZIN. So let's put that up on the screen here.
Yeah, let's get into it. This 10-year celebration.
Well, let's go ahead and do that.
And those numbers that we were talking about, the pay-per-view numbers, I just want to reiterate again that Hafid, the RIZIN PR guy, I would really like you guys to boast about those and put those out there because I think it could be a good enticing factor to bring over free agents, showing that, hey, this is a pay-per-view viable company. Remember, the UFC, they just signed a new deal. They're not going to be doing pay-per-views anymore. So if you want to get good pay-per-view points, pay-per-view money, Epic RIZIN is one of the places to be, if not the place to be from now on. So
they give pay-per-view bonuses dependent on people using QR codes to order the pay-per-views. So anybody on the card can get pay-per-view bonuses if fans use the QR code of the individual fighter.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's even better. So it's not only the top fighters that are getting the pay-per-view bonuses, any fighters, they get the QR code to get fans. That's fantastic. They should put that information out there and let the fighters know, hey, this is a pay-per-view viable company. All free agents, come on over. They're making all this money. Time to expand the roster. Time to it's just, man, I love it. I can't wait. All right, let's get into these this 10-year anniversary with the Grand Prix first. Oh, Jay Chris, it looks like you have to share the screen again.
I'm trying to, but
there we go.
I don't know if we want it to be the full screen, but I guess that'll work too, right?
I mean, come to think of it, it'd be better than just trying to. I mean, let me see if I can do this.
There we
go. There we go.
For nothing,
There we go. We got the screen of.
That's why Casey, tell him I didn't get all done up for nothing here.
That's why I'm not on screen. I didn't get my tan done.
Can you see my tan through the screen?
Yeah, that's a natural California tan.
I love SoCal. You guys should come vacation here.
I mean, come to think of it, I would love to come and vacation there, but I ain't staying around for the holidays. 98 Christmas joke.
Okay, let's start at the very beginning here.
Okay. As we're basically trying to get the video screen working, please, we apologize. On audio, we don't have...
There we go.
Okay, that was better. Yeah, we can see all the names then of the bracket.
That's perfect.
But still, though, you see, the 2015 Heavyweight Grand Prix for RIZIN, which by all accounts was the first Grand Prix that the RIZIN Fighting Federation have. I mean,
and one of the best ones, I think.
Yeah, because you had King Mo Lawal, you had Brett McDermott of Bama, you had Theodoros Lutkin Akstuowiec. Shout out to the late great Big Kibosh podcast. You got Bruno Enrique Capelosa. You had Yuri Prohaska, who of course would be the wild card in this damn event, or the wild card in this damn tournament, beating up Satoshi Ishii. And you have Vadim Nemkov making Goran Reljic into an actual ghost, so to speak.
And look at all these different champions from different organizations. Muhammad Law, of course, was Strike Force, and was he Bellator champion as well? I can't remember. Anyways,
no, he never won a title in Bellator.
Just Strike Force.
Yeah,
okay.
King was only a champion in Strike Force, and for all intents and purposes, this was his first time fighting in Japan at the time since he left Sengoku.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And then Capelosa, did he achieve the PFL title after this?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, yeah. So he's a PFL champ. Jiri Prohaska, as we all know, was a UFC champion, one of a UFC champ. Vadim Nemkov, as we all know, is now the current Bellator, PFL title contender. They just re-signed Vadim Nemkov. The UFC stupidly lowballed him, and now he's going to be in the PFL for who knows how many. It says 2 more years apparently. So he's 35, but another champion fighter right there. So this whole bracket right here loaded with champions. So and also this was when their rule set, they were doing 10-minute first rounds still. And each of these bouts were 10-minute first rounds, like the Almighty Pride FC style, 10-minute first rounds and 2 5-minute rounds afterwards. And then the semifinals and finals were on the same night, Almighty Pride FC style as well. So this is really just an absolute banger tournament right here.
Got to mention Brett McDermott, former rugby player. He ended up becoming the last Bama heavyweight champion.
Oh, yeah, and a Bama champion too as well. Good call.
Mm-hmm. But still, though, it kind of makes you wonder when it came down to just the entirety of this Grand Prix. I mean, you had King Mo, and you had King Mo basically in his last golden run of combat sports because he wasn't really doing too well in Bellator despite the success there. The UFC didn't want him because he was too much of a basket case. I mean, Strike Force and Sengoku were some of his best years, but did you think that when it came down to this particular tournament, this was some of his best work?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, do you remember how King Mo got banned from ever entering the UFC?
Yeah, I think I do. It was because of the fact that he either done a Stone Cold Steve Austin style celebration with a couple of Rockstar Energy cans, or it was because of his shitty little tribute to the victims of September 11th. I think it was back in 20. I'm doing a guess. I'm drawing a blank, but still, though, it was after he won a fight in Cincinnati. I would say it was the first fight that Zuffa had with Strike Force back in. I think it was September 11th, 2011, and he basically said, "Shout out to all the soldiers that died," or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think he was banned because he called somebody at the Nevada State Athletic Commission a C word.
Yeah, see you next Tuesday. He didn't call them see you next Tuesday. He just basically called them a bitch. And that person he made threats to was to Pat Lundvall of the Nevada State Athletic Commission.
Which everybody hated, by the way, so it wasn't even that big of an issue. I'm sure Dana White has said much worse about these people in private. That was the days of when fighters would get banned for the most random of instances.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. All it also had to do with money as well. I bet you he was a pretty high-paid fighter in Strike Force and Bellator, so that was probably the excuse to ban him.
That and also the fact that Dana was probably pissed because Mark Ratner wasn't the chief.
Yeah, somebody they could push around.
And also, before we get past this 2015 Heavyweight Grand Prix, also want to note that it had one of the best fights in Rizin history
Mhm.
between Jiří Procházka and Vadim Nemkov. And towards the late, maybe if time permits, we'll get into what our top 10 best fights are. But I'm sure on a lot of people's list, Jiří Procházka and Vadim Nemkov is going to be up there. So that was a lot of fun in that one. And, you know, just absolute banger between two absolute champions. And just, you know, just I can't say enough about it. It was just a fantastic heavyweight Grand Prix.
So
And
getting back to what JayWolf was saying earlier about the format here, there's 3 fights over 2 events. So the first event was on December 29th, and then the second event, the New Year's Eve event, you know, December 31st. That's where the semifinals and final occurred. It really played a big role in the final here, where King Mo KO'd Jiří Procházka. And we would not see that rematch for a number of years until, I believe, 2018, when they rematched for the light heavyweight championship, the inaugural Rizin light heavyweight champion.
That we did. No, that we didn't, because in the case of Jiří Procházka, I mean, you would have to think that the dude's legend really started off of losing to King Mo. And then after that, he knocked out Kazuyuki Fujita.
Yeah, this really feeds into the next year's tournament, the open weight, because we have a couple reoccurring faces here. We have King Mo and we have Jiří Procházka again competing in the open weight Grand Prix. Let's first start off by saying there was supposed to be a couple former legends in this tournament as well, Vanderlei Silva and Shane Carwin, but they both pulled out before the tournament started.
I mean, think of it, Vanderlei Silva didn't want to get injured. Well, actually, no.
It was a bicycle accident, supposedly, allegedly.
And Shane Carwin, I mean, was it happened to do with his heavy-ass hands or something?
Yeah, that guy has some big hands. I forget what his reason was exactly. I think he went at least 5 years without fighting.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, if it wasn't for Shane Carwin, you know, we would have never had that suplex fest between Amir Ali Akbari and Heath Herring.
Yeah, that's true, because Heath Herring was the replacement for Shane Carwin.
I mean, and that was by proxy his last MMA fight, right?
I think he had a fight later that year. I'm blanking on the name. He might have faced Satoshi Ishii.
Boring ass Satoshi Ishii.
Yeah, so he definitely did pop up again. So as we're taking a look at the open weight Grand Prix here, the only real competitor that was over 265 pounds was the sumo wrestler Baruto. And he did have sort of a run in this tournament by facing some Japanese legends such as Fujita and TK until he met Krokop. Krokop was the real star of this tournament, and it's the way that this tournament will be remembered because of his great win over Amir.
And I mean, not only did you have Mirko Krokop, who really got upset that Vanderlei Silva wasn't going to face him, and instead Vanderlei Silva got replaced by King Mo, who did the job. I mean, obviously, this was his finest hour. The UFC wouldn't give him what he wanted, as in fighting with the Croatian flag on his shorts because of the Reebocalypse. I mean, fighting in Glory would have been a step down. Fighting in K1 would have been a step down.
No, he won a King K1 tournament, a real deal one.
He did win one of the last K1 tournaments, but all I could remember was the 2 fights he had, one in K1, one in Glory against disgraced boxer Jarrell Big Baby Miller. But still, though, point of the matter is, Krokop, despite the fact that he didn't get the chance to fight Vanderlei Silva one more time, the dude still had his finest hour, because he submitted Hyungman Myung in his last submission win. He knocked out King Mo. He knocked out Baruto Kaido Hovison. And he knocked out Amir Ali Akbari. I mean, how crazy of old man strength can you get?
It was awesome. And then he got awarded. Remember, it was a special like video game sponsored trophy and belt. So it was like a special I remember our good friend Teep to the Junk called it the Double Dragon title. because it was from Side Games. It was some dragon had a double dragon belt and a trophy, and just was really cool. And it was such a good, great, what a great send off for the legend Mirko Cro Cop, and who he won it against, Amir Ali Akbari. He went on to have a successful career and won championship, and is still currently being successful on the Russian scene right now.
Mm-hmm.
And also look at in that side of the bracket was Valentin Moldavsky. Moldavsky went on to become Bellator heavyweight champion, and he is currently tearing it up in the PFL right now. So there's a lot of good talent in this one as well. And also check out the format. See all those 10 minutes? This is when they still had 10-minute rounds. So it was just, man, what a great, and look at the semifinals and finals are on the same night. So I mean, this is another sensational tournament up there at the top. And like Jay Chris is saying with what a sensational feel good moment for Mirko Cro Cop, one of the all-time legends of the sport, to go out on top like that and just really put this 2016 Openweight Grand Prix up there in the upper echelon of Grand Prix.
Oh, yeah, of course, exactly. And, of course, you also had fighters like Yuri Prohaska, who had to bow out due to injury. You had Simone Bahor, who was basically nothing more but an understudy in KSW. You had probably the fight of the tournament in Valentin Moldavsky versus Carl Albrechtsen in the first round. And, of course, when it came down to the tournament finals, you also had the dumbass commentary of Joe Warren. I mean, like...
Yeah, less said about that, the better.
Yeah, no shit. I mean,
we don't remember those dark days of the Rising commentary.
What do you mean? Joe Warren was a commentator? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Heath Herring, who was in this
tournament, he was great, I thought.
Yeah, he did commentary after this. He was great on them. I was surprised they didn't bring him back.
So that was the 2-night, I think 2016, because Joe Warren's commentary was bashed online, where Heath Herring had to become the third man in the booth, I guess, on New Year's Eve. That's the way I remember it, at least.
What was even worse about that was the fact that dumb motherfucker basically said, "Oh, well, Mirko looked like he's bringing one of his brides out," not realizing it's his fucking daughter.
Yeah, so enough about Joe Warren.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good Olympic wrestler, good fighter, piss poor comment.
I'm not going to even give him that much.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Of course.
Yes, anyways, this 2016 Openweight Grand Prix, sensational. Mirko Cro Cop's all-time legend swan song, just absolutely sensational. Format was sensational. Just everything about this Grand Prix was sensational.
Yeah, it's probably their oldest tournament in terms of fighters, because you see a lot of guys that were on the other side of 35. We have Fujita, which was probably close to 45. We have TK. He was in his 40s. Cro Cop in his 40s. Vanderlei Silva was about to be 40, if not already there. Shane Carr went over 40. And then we had some of the younger fighters like Carl, Valentin, Yuri Prohaska. So this was really a changing of the guard here. You saw a lot of Pride fighters. And then the next Grand Prix after this would be establishing the RIZIN names in the lower weight classes.
Not to mention the younger talent, right?
Yeah. So this is a very important change here. This is an example of them still trying to hang on to the Pride years.
Mm-hmm. Now, going into 2017, we had two tournaments that were talked about. We had the RIZIN Bantamweight Grand Prix, and for the first time ever, a stacked women's Grand Prix in the 105 or 108 pound weight division. Oh, and of course, we had the one-night RIZIN kickboxing tournament.
Yes.
Which I love.
But still, though, let's talk about the RIZIN Bantamweight Grand Prix first. You had Ian Uncle Creepy McCall fighting in one of his last mixed martial arts bouts, getting knocked out by a surging young competitor, brash, cocky, acting like his shit don't stink, in Manel Cape, who many people just grew to love or grew to hate, so to speak, after
Was that the one where he cut his head on the ropes?
Yes.
It never happened.
That, and it was after Manel blew a kiss to Urson Yamamoto's mom, aka Miyu Yamamoto. Oh, and by the way, Combat Sports Today is saying we're here.
Yes, what's up, Combat Sports Today? Hey, everybody go check out the Combat Sports Today channels on Twitter and Instagram, wherever they're at. They're fantastic, arguably the best. I'm going to call them mainstream media now. And they're just absolutely fantastic channel. Shout out to the Combat Sports Today fam. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all your coverage of the of the epic Rizin Fighting Federation and everything. You know, just it's fantastic. We love what you guys do.
Mm-hmm. And then when it comes down to the rest of the tournament, you had future UFC fighter Khalid Taha. He made it all the way to the semifinals. You had former UFC fighter Anthony Burchak, who lost to Takafumi Otsuka. You had the machine gun Kevin Petchy, who many people probably thought was a wild card going into this tournament because he beat Jae-Hoon Moon, only to lose to Shintaro Ishiwatari.
One of the most violent KOs in Rizin history right there.
Yes, of course.
Was that one superior rule set in that one?
I might have to rewatch that. I just remember a big hook landing and then Pesci just falling to the ground.
Okay.
But most importantly than all of that, you had the rising success, so to speak. And right now we're looking at Takumi Fukuhara saying that Otsuka is now Ren Hiramoto's trainer. Good for him. And Combat Sports Today is saying, much love, boys. They're always going to support y'all.
Thank you, Combat Sports Today. You guys are the best.
Mm-hmm. But still, though, more importantly than all that, we had the success of Tournament Kyoji, which would eventually lead to Kyoji 2 belts, which would eventually lead to the success of Kyoji Horiguchi in the almost 9 years that he left the UFC behind. I mean, when it came down to Kyoji Horiguchi starting this run off in Rizin by just steamrolling through the Grand Prix, he knocked out Hideo Tokoro. He knocked out Gabriel the Diamond Oliveira, who hasn't fought since 2021, by the way. He submitted Manel Cape, shut him up, and he knocked out Shintaro Ishiwatari. I mean, you gotta admit, aside from Mirko Krokov, this was probably one of the most phenomenal runs in a Rizin tournament to date, you know?
100%. And make sure you mention that the semifinals and finals were on the same night, Almighty Pride FC style. And Kyoji Gucci 2 belts, he knocked, not only did he sub Mano Cape, but that was the same night that he also won the final. So,
yeah.
I mean, super impressive.
Sorry.
Yeah, just super impressive. And look at all the future UFC fighters that are in this. We've got Cape, and Kyoji Horiguchi is now re-signed with the UFC. Hopefully he's going to make another run at the title there. And then the other guy you were talking about, I forget, I can't really see the
Khalid Taha.
Taha, thank you. And of course, you know, Uncle Creepy McCall was from UFC. So a lot of good, I mean, just...
Anthony Burchak was too.
Oh, that's right. Anthony Burchak. So just a fantastic Grand Prix all the way around. And what a fantastic win for Kyoji Horiguchi. Just, it was so great to see. One of the top Grand Prix in history as well.
King CeeLo, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so Manel Cape versus Horiguchi was the opening fight of, I think, New Year's Eve 2017. So that's one of the best opening fights that you could possibly have on an event. I remember the crowd being really hot for that fight.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say the fight of the tournament ended up being? There was a couple submissions that really stood out. There was a really cool KO here with Taha over Ishibashi. That was a superior rule set knee.
Grounded knees, yes.
I mean, come to think of it, we would have to look at it two ways. Pro Horiguchi, which was all four of the fights that Kyoji steamrolled through, and non-Horiguchi, which is everybody else. So, in a way, would you say that the biggest pro-Horiguchi knockout, the biggest pro-Horiguchi fight was his fight against Manel Cape? Or would you say the biggest non-Horiguchi fight would probably be, and I'm just drawing a blank here, Otsuka versus Taha?
Yeah, I think the fight that had the most hype behind it was McCall versus Cape. I just remember in the selection show for the actual bracket, those two going at it. That was one of the first really viral moments, at least in the West, for RIZIN.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there was quite a few good KOs and submissions in this tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Especially considering the fact that, this was definitely finish heavy. Not to say that the other two tournaments didn't have their fair share of finishers, but still, though.
Yeah, let's move on to that second tournament.
Yes, the first ever women's tournament for RIZIN was the RIZIN Women's Super Atomweight Grand Prix of 2017. And you had 8 competitors in this tournament. You had Reina Kubota, the Crazy Andy Nguyen, Miyu Yamamoto, or Milfy Miyu, once upon a time, a.k.a. the Fighting Queen Bee, Aline Cabello Riviera, Alyssa Tiny Tim Garcia, Maria Neta Oliveira, Kana Asakura, and Sylvia Yuskowitz. When you look at the first round of the tournament, Kubota and Rivera, who many people did not know had it in her, but those two were definitely on their dog game, so to speak, which was why, basically pretty much proved why Yamamoto can't finish anybody worth the damn. Hell, she wasn't able to finish anybody in her MMA career.
She can't even finish a marriage.
Okay,
let's just keep on going here.
Yeah, please.
Whoa.
The lady been married twice.
No, 3 times, I swear. Okay, we don't need to talk about
that. That's on you, CeeLo. But still.
See, I blocked this one out of my memory because this was supposed, Kana Asakura just ruined it. This was supposed to be Reina Kuboto's tournament. And, our striker queen, everybody knows was the shoot boxing queen, but I've rebranded as a striker queen.
Oh, my God. You basically were one of the few people that actually gave a damn about Reina Kubota winning this tournament, only for Kubota to just basically shit the bed.
Well, she almost got it. It was just, Kana Asakura is just a better grappler. But those semifinals and finals were on the same night. So this is still when they were doing the Grand Prix, the traditional Almighty Pride FC style of the semifinals and finals being the same night. And it was really fun. And man, if only Reina would have won that, it would have just been sensational. But
yeah, for you would have been happy. But I'm sure not a lot of other fight fans would have. But
everybody loves Striker Queen Reina. What are you talking about?
I understand that, but still, though, would we have really wanted to see her win?
Yes. King CeeLo backed me up on this one.
I feel like this tournament was made for Reina. We talk about Gomi weight and pride, which was 161 pounds, but there's also a Reina weight. That's 108.
Yep.
So this was, to my knowledge, the first super atomweight Grand Prix of any promotion. I'm not even sure there's many atomweight Grand Prix before this.
Come to think of it, you would if you were to actually look through the archives of fight promotions that had women's Grand Prix tournaments, outside of Jules or Deep Jules or even Smack Girl, one other tournament comes to mind, and that was all the way back in Hook and Shoot. That was all the way back in 2004.
So wait. So atomweight is 105 pounds? I thought it was 110 pounds.
But because
atomweight's 105 and then super atomweight's 108, which is Reina's weight.
Okay. So why is there because straw weight is 115 pounds. Why is there no 110 pounds weight class for women?
That's a good question, to be honest.
I mean, really, Invicta was the only one putting on atomweight fights at the time, besides Deep Jules.
What wasn't Combate Global as well, or was that not yet in 2017?
I'm not sure if they're around yet at that point. Well, I guess they had to be around because I think
Well,
they sent Garcia to the tournament, right?
yeah, they
That's
sent
what I thought. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
they sent Alyssa Garcia to the tournament, and
But
Alyssa.
that was when they were still Combate Americas before they had rebranded the
Yeah,
Combate Global.
Yeah.
yeah, at that particular time, they bought in Alyssa Garcia and Kyra Batara, aka Mogwai Batara.
Yeah, and was any of these women from Invicta, because Invicta also did a couple of talent sharings with the Epic Rising Fighting Federation as well.
See? No, they
Oh,
haven't. I mean, of course, Andy Nguyen basically fought for just about every promotion that would pay her, but still don't. But still, though, when it came down to it, I'm pretty sure that, when it came down to this tournament, none of the girls fought for Invicta. And from looking at,
Oliveira fought for the UFC.
yeah, Oliveira fought for the UFC. Cabello fought in, uh, Oliveira fought in the UFC 4 times, lost all four, well, one out of four. Cabello Rivera fought in Combate Americas, going 2-2 in the promotion. And in the case of Andy Nguyen, who was the only person that actually got a call back after fighting in Rising, I mean, she hasn't really done anything other than boxing and bare knuckle boxing since then. Even though she still got to provide for her kids and her people, so to speak, down in Lake Charles.
now, did you guys like this tournament? I thought it was really cool, except the wrong person won in the final.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else, I thought it was really a good tournament.
I loved it. That's all about
I
that.
think this would be top 3 of their tournaments in terms of like action and then
Really?
the winner
Wow.
not being predictable, because you have the bantamweight tournament and you kind of saw, oh, Horiguchi's really being built up here to win the tournament. 2015, you're thinking King Mo because he's the one that's the most established before the tournament. You're thinking about the open weight Grand Prix. Crow Cop is coming to mind as the winner. Right here, you got that twist at the end of Kana being Reina with a rear naked choke.
Okay, I mean, I wouldn't give it top 3, but I'll definitely put it in the top 10 or top 5.
Top 10. There's less than 10 tournaments, I think.
So far.
So far, okay. So now that we talked about the Super Atomweight Grand Prix, we can go into 2018, right?
Yes.
Well,
No, we can't because there's this tension kickboxing.
Oh.
yeah, the one night make tension look strong tournament.
Wait, wasn't there an 8-man one night?
No,
Grand
this
Prix?
was only a 4-man tournament.
Oh, I thought there was another 8-man one night Grand Prix with kickboxing as well.
The second Rising Kickboxing Grand Prix will occur in 2022, and that will be 4-man as well, I think.
Oh, they're both 4-man, so they weren't even 8-man. Oh, never mind.
They're both isolated to one event.
Okay, never mind. I thought there was one on that was 8-man, but this one was clearly a showcase for Tenshin, which was pretty cool still. I mean, Tenshin Nasukawa is one of the best kickboxers, and now he's rising the boxing ranks and probably get a title shot pretty soon. So it was just great to see him showcased.
We can definitely agree with that because he knocked out Yuta Hamamoto and Yamato Fujita in session. But would you also say that this was a tournament showcase for Yamato Fujita as well? Because he did knock out Mitsuhisa Sanabe before getting knocked out by Tenshin Nasukawa. And now he is a top-ranked competitor in UAE Warriors.
So did the Tenshin versus Fujita MMA fight happen before this? Was that in 2016 New Year's Eve? Is that the reason why he was included in this tournament?
I mean, I am basically doing a search right now because he did fight Tenshin not once but twice. He's the only man to basically take Tenshin Nasukawa to his limit more than once. And in the case of the Tenshin Nasukawa fight, and I'm looking down the list right now, I would say That was before the kickboxing tournament.
Yeah, just a couple months before.
Yeah, that was back in October of 2017.
So that's the reason why he was included.
And this was done on the same fight card as the finals of the Super Atomweight Grand Prix and the Bantamweight Grand Prix.
Oh man, 3 Grand Prix at once. What is 3 one-night tournaments at once, basically? Man, that was that 2017 New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
What a year, man. And now that mirrors kind of this year, 2025. We're gonna basically have the flyweight Grand Prix finishing up on New Year's Eve, and the heavyweight Grand Prix winner is going to be facing Ryan Bader on New Year's Eve, and kind of like a bonus final type of a deal. So we're going to get like another where we have a couple Grand Prix on one card. So, but this one in 2017, I mean, it's going to be tough to beat, where there was 3 different Grand Prix finals on one card. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, I really like the Grand Prix from RIZIN. It gives structure to their events, and it provides storylines for the fights. Those early years really were dependent on those Grand Prix.
Yeah, I love it. I want them to return.
Yeah. Yeah, so RIZIN took 2018 off from Grand Prix because we had Mayweather. The first appearance of Mayweather. So looking at this 2019 lightweight Grand Prix, we have some promotional mainstays. We have Johnny Case, ex-UFC fighter, Damian Brown, ex-UFC fighter, Tofik, future UFC fighter, Bellator fighter, PFL fighter, Patricky Pitbull, current RIZIN fighter, Kawajiri, Pride, Dream,
UFC.
Yes, UFC as well. Gustavo.
Well, Luis Gustavo never fought in the UFC, obviously.
Yeah.
Then you had Hiroto Uesako, who also fought in the PFL.
Yeah, this is another fantastic tournament. I mean, they were all great. It's going to be hard to rank them because they were all fantastic, in my opinion. But this one was really good.
Knockouts.
Oh, yeah. This one was just, I mean, except for the final, this was all, and there were superior rule set finishes. Remember, Patricky and Gustavo was, Patricky got him with a grounded kick. So that was, man, I mean, what a great tournament. And this was all, I mean, Damian Brown, was that one of his last fights? I think it was.
I think it was his second to last fight.
Second to last fight for him?
Actually, the Musayev fight was his last contracted fight, and then he's been a commentator for the last 5 years.
Okay, so that was, I mean, and as we see, Musayev is going to, did he make his debut in UFC yet?
Yeah, he was submitted via Kimura. We don't want to talk
about
that.
That's right. Yeah, forget about that. We'll see how he does in his sophomore outing when he gets that monkey out of his back. Johnny Case was also UFC veteran, and Damian Brown, obviously UFC veteran. But it was Johnny Case beating Roberto de Souza. That was an impressive knockout as well. And then, of course, Musayev got him. And then Patricky got Kawajiri, and then he got Gustavo with a grounded kick knockout. It was awesome. And then the final was a sensational win for Musayev. And we should say that Patricky also went on to become the Bellator lightweight champion.
Well, actually, Patricky was pretty much established as co-Mr. Bellator along with his brother Patricio.
Well, I mean, no, Patricio is Mr. Bellator. And, you know, then we also had Chandler was another big Bellator guy. But, no, you're right. Patricky was definitely one of the big ones. Looking for Hanasan saying that tomorrow's Landmark 12 announcement, as of this recording, which is going to be on Thursday night in America and Friday morning in Japan, is that the RIZIN Prince Akimoto and Hagiwara might be the main event, because Hagiwara is from the Osaka area. Interesting. I don't know if I like that. I think that's too much of a layup for Prince Akimoto. So, but
yeah, I'm kind of hoping that's not the main event.
Yeah, me too. But we'll see. I mean, it makes sense if Hagiwara's from, because he's a big name, and if he's from,
it's a big fight for Japan.
Yeah,
especially that region.
Exactly. So that's
come to think of it. Looking at what this tournament has gotten out of it. I mean, aside from Damian Brown being a commentator, aside from Tawfiq Musayev parlaying this incredible tournament win into just basically being dominated by Roberto Satoshi de Sousa, and
Yeah,
obviously,
and you gotta mention how De Souza did that. He came back from losing in this tournament, in this Grand Prix, to submitting Musayev for the actual title with a super impressive. It was like a flying triangle type of a submission. It was really cool. Got Musayev fair and square, tapped him, everything. It was really great. That was, to me, that was Satoshi's, Roberto de Souza's really star-making performance, in my opinion.
and in the case of Tatsuya Crusher Kawajiri, it was his last fight, and now he's basically commentating just about every promotion there is in Japan. But when you look at the fact that from this tournament, 4 of the 8 competitors in this tournament are still gainfully with Rizin. Or in the case of Patricky, he realized the grass wasn't always greener on the other side, GFL, and then decided he wanted to fight in Rizin again. I mean, could we potentially see either Johnny Case, Patricky Pitbull, or Luis Gustavo possibly go back up into title contention before we ever see Roberto Satoshi de Sousa vacate that belt or, lose his title?
Yeah, so just looking at this tournament, Satoshi had that first round exit, but then in the years after that, he submitted Johnny Case, Tawfiq, he KO'd Gustavo. So he really, at the end of the day, he became the face of the lightweight division in Rizin.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was
Absolutely.
expected after that first round TKO loss that he didn't really have that dog in him,
Yep.
Because everybody was saying he was just another Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy that really didn't have that ability to tough it out.
Yeah, 100%, Casey. You're absolutely right. That's why I was saying when he was able to come back and submit Tawfiq and tap out Musayev with that sensational like flying triangle move, that really put him on the map, established him as this is the guy in lightweight. And just since then, he's just building his resume and just really taking over that lightweight division to where you're absolutely correct. He is now the face of the Epic Rizin's lightweight division.
So I would say this was Rizin's best tournament, and it was by far their best final fight of a tournament.
Wow. I don't know if I agree on that one, but okay.
I don't think it's a hot take. I think a lot of the fighters had a lot more to give here. And just look at the finishes. There were some upsets as well. You really couldn't determine, besides the Patricky versus Kawajiri fight, who was going to be the winner of each one of these opening round matchups.
All right. I mean, I'll put in the top 10 again.
Okay.
And also, did you see Furuhata-san's comment? I don't know, Jay Krish, but anyways, he said that he doesn't know for sure if that's going to be the matchup. They were just speculation because Akimoto was in Osaka, so that's why they were speculating that was what it could be. So it's not confirmed. So
Okay.
Good
news
on
we'll find
that
out
one.
soon enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this final here, I think it's one of the top 10 best fights in Rizin history between Tawfiq and Patricky.
Wow. Okay. I'll give you that. It was a banger. So.
Okay, so let's move on to 2021. So we're in the COVID era right now.
Mm-hmm.
Events are only at 50% attendance. This is in Osaka, just like we're kind of talking about in the comments. So Cozy is the face of Osaka kickboxers. His name will sell out 5,000 seats right away, which explains why there was a special kickboxing tournament just put on for him at this event. It's also known as one of the worst Rizin events ever, partially due to this tournament.
Well, let's put some blame on COVID. Come on, they were working with what they could. So, this was when they could not get international fighters because stupid COVID and all the visa BS. And then was this also after Fuji TV did their BS? They dropped Combat Sports.
I think it's slightly before then.
Okay, but yeah, this was right in the middle of the pandemic, so I don't want to fault them too much. You know, they were
So,
working what they could.
on the contrary, Jay, it wasn't in the middle of the pandemic. For us, it was near the end of the pandemic. But Japan was still going through the issues where, you had redacted crowds. I mean, if that was really the case in Rising, you really wouldn't have noticed, especially considering the fact that they did the first MMA event at the Tokyo Dome since 2003 at that point. But yeah, Rising 29 in Osaka was definitely a pure shit show. This tournament basically being the reason why, because Koji Tanaka fought Genji Umeno and that
Headbutt.
fight, yeah, accidental headbutt, 43 seconds, fight thrown out. Then you had Taiju Shiratori gaining the only knockout victory of that tournament and him knocking out Ryo Takahashi in 67 seconds. And that's what led to Taiju beating up Koji because, well, really, Koji had no business going on into that final fight because he just wanted to make the crowd feel happy, but it was probably a fight that the fans wish they would have never watched with their own eyes, so to speak.
All right, well, let's move on to the next one then. Here we go. There's another one of these that was absolute banger.
Yeah, of course. The Japan Bantamweight Tournament, which, of course, I call it the Japan Bantamweight Tournament because they had to make do with what they had, especially with fighter restrictions and all. And it was definitely the tournament where I mean, how many men were in this tournament? Like 20?
No, it's 16 men.
Yeah, 16.
I mean, okay, because they had to reshuffle the semifinals and the quarterfinals, so to speak. But still, though, you had Kai Asakura making a name, knocking out Shuto Watanabe, beating Alan Yoshihiro Yamaniha, then beating up Kenta Takizawa, only to lose to Hiromasa Ogikubo in the tournament finals.
And we should point out that was on the same night. The semifinals and finals were on the same night, Almighty Pride SC style. This is how they should have formatted the Flyweight Grand Prix this year. But, hopefully they're going to return to this because it was, well, we'll see. We'll see how the Flyweight Grand Prix plays out. But back when they were doing the traditional one-night Grand Prix finals, they were all sensational. So we'll see how it plays out this year with the Flyweight Grand Prix. But this is the format they should go back to for – when they're doing a 16-man Grand Prix, to be like this and the previous ones we talked about.
So I kind of have a love and hate opinion with this Grand Prix. On one end, you have an upset in the finals, but then on the other side, there's a bunch of bad fights in here. There's only a couple upsets as well. I'd say Matoya versus Takizawa was an upset with Matoya trying to escape the ring. I'm not sure that was a stipulation for that match, but he left the ring to lose.
If you're talking about bad fights in this tournament, how bad are we talking here? Like,
we're talking about fights that we want to forget.
I was about to say, are we talking about nuclear stink out the Tokyo Dome bad or just...
Yeah, I would say so. Takizawa versus Imanari was bad. Matoya versus Okada was bad. Let's see what else we had that was bad here. We had let's focus on the positives a little bit. Inoue versus Ishibutari was a really great KO. It involved some superior roll set.
Yes.
Soccer kick action there. I would say that's the top 10 knockout in Rizin history if we're looking back at it.
Yes.
Okikubo was really on his decision game in the first and second rounds. Those are some unwatchable fights until Okikubo gets to the semifinals against Inoue. So I would say the semifinals and finals were good, but then before that, there was some unwatchable content right here in the bantamweight division.
All right, well, I'm glad you try to make that positive as possible, Casey. I appreciate that. So, all right, let's move on. Oh wait, you want to get to Furuhata-san's comment, Jay Krish?
Yeah, let's see what he's.
he was talking about how Clever and Mikuru in the Tokyo Dome. Oh wait, Jay Krish he's probably taking care of something. So can you move on to the next Grand Prix then?
Yeah. So our commenter was basically saying that the Tokyo Dome was reserved for Tenshin versus Takaru. I believe that's the case. Takaru had an injured hand, and then that fight wouldn't happen until a year later in 2022, which would become known as the match. So that's just a little bit there. So really, that was a blessing in disguise, that hand injury right there, because if that fight occurred, it would only be 25,000 in attendance instead of the 50,000 that ended up taking place in 2022 when the COVID restrictions were kind of relaxed in a way. So I'd say that was a good outcome.
Absolutely. And thank you for Takeshi Furuhata-san for that awesome information and comments and listening. Appreciate you, brother. So let's move on to the...
Actually, let me go ahead and get my question about Ogi Kubo winning the Grand Prix.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Real quick, do you think that Ogi Kubo shouldn't have won that Grand Prix?
What do you mean?
Well, I feel like he won the fights, but was he really the most marketable name that could have won it?
Yeah.
Probably not. I would say he was at least the third or the fourth best person to win the tournament behind Inoue and Asakura, and let's see what else. Who else would you say would be a good winner for the Grand Prix besides Ogi Kubo?
I mean, aside from Asakura, you had Kenta Takizawa, you had Naoki Inoue, who would end up becoming the only other fighter other than Kai Asakura to become a champion in the aftermath of this tournament. I mean, like, would you basically say that there were other fighters other than Ogi Kubo that were more reasonably marketable? I mean, and oh, by the way, Ogi Kubo is in the RIZIN Flyweight Grand Prix semifinals coming up at RIZIN 51.
I mean, look, Kai Asakura was part of the Asakura Action Brothers, so he was definitely the most marketable and the one they wanted to win. This is like for you guys, this is how it went for me for the one where Kana Asakura upset Reina Kubota. So this was Ogi Kubo upset Kai Asakura in this one here. But I mean, he's still a pretty popular fighter. He's a tough veteran from the Ultimate Fighter. He beat the current UFC champion on there. So I mean, it's not like he's some scrub. He's a good fighter. And like Jay Krish, like you're saying, he's already in the semifinals of this year's Flyweight Grand Prix. So we'll see how that goes. And he very well could win another one here in 2025. What do you say, KC? Don't say that.
This is the gift that keeps on giving, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Now,
I thought this was a pretty good tournament, though. I mean, I know there was a couple, I guess stinker fights, but there, like you said, there's a superior rule set finish. There were some big names that were in here and considering this was during the pandemic, I thought it was very good that a 16-man Grand Prix, Japanese Grand Prix, with what they could do. I thought it was great for what they had, what they were working with during a pandemic. So I thought it was really cool, to be honest with you.
So Kai Asakura breaks his hand against Takizawa in the semifinal, which affects the finals. It has a sort of domino effect on the way RIZIN books tournaments after this, where the finals seem to take place on their own event. Semifinals and finals no longer take place during New Year's Eve, much due to the Kai Asakura injury in the semifinal.
Yeah, and hopefully they return to tradition and go back to the traditional semifinals and finals on the same night, and not blame. I mean, Kai, his hands are made of glass, and he breaks his hand for everything. So if you're gonna take away the awesome, I mean, that's what makes the Grand Prix in Japan cool, is that the finals and semifinals and finals are on the same night. That's what makes them freaking cool. So they need to go back to that. So and this was the last one they've done so far, right?
Yeah, in that sort of format. If we just compare it to March Madness, what's your favorite part of March Madness?
Oh, the Final Four, right?
I would think it's like the opening round, like that opening round weekend.
Oh, okay.
I'd rather have the opening round and the quarterfinals on the same night.
Damn it. my favorite part of the March Madness tournament for both men's and women's hoops, aside from the opening weekend, is definitely the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, because it basically weeds out the weak teams from the strong teams.
Yeah, we just compare that to tournaments. The finals, I think they should take place on their own night because they're special. You can build up the hype between the competitors. I think it's the earlier rounds that should go through the fights faster.
Okay, well, the Almighty Pride FC did do that for their 2005 lightweight Grand Prix. That was the one, I believe, if I remember correctly. Was that the one that Gomi won, or was that a different one? I have to look it up again, but I remember that one had the quarterfinals and semifinals on the same night, and then the final was later on that year. I can't remember exactly if it was New Year's Eve or not. Somebody look that up for me real quick, but that was 2005 lightweight Grand Prix in Almighty Pride FC where they did that. So if they would go back to doing that, I'd be okay with that. Maybe if they do a 16-man Grand Prix, maybe have an opening round of 16 bouts, right? Of eight matches on a card. Then the next card have the quarterfinals and semis on the same bout. Is this the Almighty Pride FC lightweight tournament?
Yeah, so I'm looking at what is this, 2005. We can see quite a few good Grand Prix here. We see the welterweight Grand Prix, we see the lightweight Grand Prix, we see the middleweight. Yeah, Pride was a special time.
Oh, dude, it was the best. But yeah, look up one of those fighters on the lightweight Grand Prix here, and see if I'm remembering correctly, where it was the semifinals and quarterfinals and semifinals were same night.
Yeah, so you'd be correct. It'd be
yes,
finals.
I remembered right.
September 2005.
Excellent. So see, there is historical preference for that. So that is a great idea, King CeeLo. If they would go back to that format, I'd be happy with that. They just got to keep the one-night tournament format, either in the quarterfinals and semifinals, like the 2005 Almighty Pride FC lightweight tournament, or go back to tradition and have the semifinals and finals the same night. Just keep the one-night. It's just so cool to see fighters fight more than once in a single night. It's the coolest. The one-night Grand Prix format and the superior rule set, it's a match made in heaven. It's absolutely sensational. So
because it really leads to upsets too when you're fighting more than once in one night.
Yeah, because you can't sit there and game plan and you got to just be the best fighter. You know what I mean? And like the best all-around fighter and the best finisher is usually going to win the one-night Grand Prix. That's just how it works. So to me, it's the best format that there is. I absolutely. That's why I give King K1 the crown, because that's what they do. They do the real deal Holyfield 8-man one-night Grand Prix. So it's just there's nothing better.
Kickboxing a little bit different though.
What? Say it again.
Kickboxing a little bit different, with the round structure.
Yeah.
I feel like the tournament is really more foundational in kickboxing than it is for MMA.
Yeah, but like you were saying, Almighty Pride FC, that was a special time. That was the true golden age in mixed martial arts was Pride FC. It's probably 2005. 2003 to 2005, in my opinion, was like just peak golden age of mixed martial arts in the world, because that was the peak years of the Almighty Pride FC. Because really, from the 2002. Was it Shockwave that did the 91,000 fans? Was it called Shockwave? Or no, it was Dynamite. Duh. Stupid. From Dynamite on to 2005, that was peak. That was just absolute peak mixed martial arts. That was just sensational. Golden age period. So, and there was lots of Grand Prix. There was, and there were one-night tournament Grand Prix where there was either semifinals and finals same night, or the quarterfinals and semifinals same night. So you just got to keep that one-night Grand Prix format, and with the superior rule set, it's just a match made in heaven. It just produces gold.
Yes, so let's move on to the next Grand Prix in Rizin's history, which was the second Super Atomweight Grand Prix. We have some returning faces here. We have Kana Asakura, Reina, and then we have some of the new promotional faces of the division, like Seiko Izawa and Hamasaki. Hamasaki came into the tournament after a loss to Izawa, I believe, at New Year's Eve the previous year, if I'm remembering that correctly. Let me take
Yes.
a look at that. I don't know if it's after their second fight as well. Let me see. But we're
It was,
really seeing a mixture of the original super atomweight fighters and this kind of new era of the division in Rizin. Hamasaki was getting up to her 40s, but she was very much so at the top of her game here, even though she lost to Seiko Izawa.
yeah, 100% agreed. And you know, Izawa, this was sort of like a tournament supposed to prove Izawa, in my opinion, because they had a bunch of good fighters in there. You know, and this is they were trying to get, as you can see, they put Reina Kubota, Striker Queen Reina, on the same side of the bracket as Siki Izawa, because that was a super fight they were trying to build into, was Izawa and Reina. But Reina, you know, got hurt, and this is actually what initially added to the heat of that matchup, is that Reina was supposed to fight Izawa in this Grand Prix, but because of injury, it had to be postponed, so that added some heat to that matchup to make it into, that's probably the last big super fight of the women's, or at least one of them in the women's divisions right now in Japan.
I would say that's the biggest single women's fight that can be made outside of the UFC at this point.
Oh, 100%
Universe
agreed.
Izawa. And I'm hoping that occurs at New Year's Eve this year, but you can't hold your breath on that. We've been promised that fight a couple times, even though it hasn't been officially announced. It's been heavily speculated. So we
Yes.
see Park making the finals here to face Izawa in a rematch. It ended up being a very close final. Some people thought Park won, but then Park never appears in Rizin again, I believe. She moves up to 115 at the strawweight division. So this tournament is kind of middle of the road, really. You have Jessica Allegar. Am I
I,
saying that correct?
I, oh,
Aguilar. And she's really a legend of the lower weight classes for the women as well. So it was nice to see her reappear. I think that was her last professional fight.
yeah, it was her last professional fight, but not her last professional MMA occurrence. Well, actually, no. Let me rephrase. Yeah, of course, it was her last MMA fight, but she still does work for XFC down in the southern states, and most recently, she was mentioned as part of the not gonna get off the ground GFL. So,
Oh man,
yeah, the less said about that, the better.
they're
But
digging up anybody.
yeah, of course. But still, though, I'm glad that Aguilar is basically. I mean, if this was her last MMA bout, and she hasn't fought in almost 3 years, or a little over 3 years at this point, I mean, hopefully she's happy and enjoying time with her wife and all of that. But still, though, when it came down to this particular fight and in this particular tournament, Aguilar had no business being in there, especially considering that she was, I wouldn't say past her prime, but, she basically just didn't have the fight in her anymore. Now,
Well,
as.
she was a vet, and she was being matched up with another vet, Hamasaki.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a battle of vets, legends, basically.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like that was good matchmaking.
I mean, you can say it was good matchmaking, but was it really good for her to still go out there and give it one more go when she knew she didn't have it in her anymore?
I mean, I don't think she took a lot of damage in that fight. The fight wasn't memorable.
Mm,
I can't really remember a second from it. So I don't feel like she took a lot of damage like we would see from some of the other older contestants in these Grand Prix, like TK and Fujita and so forth. So
mm-hmm.
I would put this tournament at the lower end. So would you guys
I
agree?
agree. I agree with King CeeLo because the semifinals and finals were not same night, one night tournament. So, that definitely drops it down out of the top 5. Maybe the lower half of the top 10.
Now, come to think of it, when it comes down to fighters who were just there to be there, Laura Fontour just recently had a kid, and she's still considered the Palace Athena's fighting championship women's atomweight belt holder in Canada. Of course, she's from Brazil, and hopefully she's doing well in the stages of motherhood, so to speak. But as far as and Anastasia Little Tiger Spetskipska, she was a replacement for Brana Kubota, who was supposed to have been in this tournament. Well, who was supposed to have been in the semifinals after beating Little Tiger, but of course, Little Tiger ended up losing twice in this tournament, and now she, after having not fought in almost 2 years, I don't know if she's considered retired. I don't know if she's considered a casualty of the war in Ukraine. I mean, of the invasion of Ukraine by those greedy ass Russians, but still, though, hopefully she's doing all right as well. But as far as Siwoo Park goes, she's the current Deep Jewel Strawweight champion, and with Taika Izawa potentially moving on to bigger and better things, do you think?
What would be those bigger and better things?
I mean, if not going to the UFC, then I don't know what else is there for her. But do you?
Well, she would have to move up to 115 to get the UFC because they have nothing unless UFC opens an atomweight division. She'd have to go up to 115.
That's basically been the talked about magical unicorn for years, Jay.
So then she should. I think before she goes to UFC, she should take some 115 fights in the Epic Rising. It would just be really dumb to just all of a sudden jump ship unless they gave her a huge pile of money. I mean, to go from move up an entire weight class and make a UFC debut in a weight class you're not even familiar with. To me, that would just be they would just do that to try to shit on the Epic Rising brand basically and say like, hey, look at your champion is going to get destroyed here, and it's like, they'll make no mention that this is a brand new weight class. She's moving up in weight. She's going to be outsized, all that stuff. So,
yeah, but here's the thing though, with Izawa possibly moving up a weight class and wanting to fight more international competition, could we potentially see Miss Siwoo Park go up and potentially vie for the atomweight title that's now possibly going to get vacated or, possibly going to get left aside?
Well, let's see how it goes. We don't know. Like King CeeLo was saying that the Sigi Izawa and Reina Kubota, Striker Queen Reina, that is the super fight of the women's division right now. That needs to happen. If that happens, hopefully it's this New Year's Eve, and that's the last atomweight bout for Sigi Izawa. And after that, hopefully she moves up to 115 for a bout or two before she goes to UFC, because if she does that, then she has a much better chance of success, in my opinion, than if she just jumps ship to the UFC right away and moves up a weight class for a UFC debut. To me, that's not very smart unless she gets offered just a pile of money for that. So, but I seriously doubt that Dingleberry Dana would do that. But we'll see how it plays out. So yes, I would like to see the Striker Queen Reina and Izawa super atomweight super fight, and then Izawa move up to 115 before she goes to UFC. And if she moves to 115, sure, Siwoo Park, why not do a rematch? There's a bunch of Bachi. Exactly, yeah. So there's a bunch of good fights at 115 for her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's move on to something that is ongoing right now.
I mean,
let's
go ahead and talk about the lighter tournament that's taking place first, not the heavier tournament. Because
but just notice that there was a 3-year gap between Grand Prix. That went from 2022, and it looked like there wasn't going to be Grand Prix anymore. And it was really weighing on me. You guys know this from the Rising Discord. I was in shambles, bro. I thought they were not going to do Grand Prix anymore. And like, dude, and so for this year to have 2 Grand Prix come back, it was just a sensational to see. Oh, Jay Chris, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here, dude.
Okay, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the lighter weight tournament that's going on first, rather than talk about the drizzle and shits.
How about we talk about the heavyweight one, because that's the one I included in the slideshow. I forgot to include the flyweight one. So let's talk about the heavyweight one first.
Okay, fine. You created the damn thing. Let's go ahead and talk about the heavier weight tournament first. And that is the ongoing RIZIN Heavyweight Grand Prix. Now, I can basically, bury the shit out of this like it's a pro wrestling angle. But still, though, when you had one finish in the course of the first round of the tournament, and that one finish happened to be by leg kicks, I mean, yeah, shout out to Mikio Ueda for making that possible. But when you had one finish in the first round of the tournament and the rest were just boring, gouging decisions, it basically makes your heavyweight division look like pure shit, isn't it not?
Let's give JayWolf 2 minutes on the floor to defend this piece of shit.
Okay, Jay, go. Did I put him on mute? Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay, now, there we go.
The muzzle has been officially taken off.
Yes. I absolutely love this tournament. I mean, just because there was a couple decisions that were kind of boring, that doesn't. I mean, you just missed the leg kick knockout, but that was a pretty good one by Ueda. And then this is featuring probably the next rising star, especially international star of the Epic RIZIN. That's Dana White Contender Series legend Alexander Soldakin. And you remember he was doing really good. He was going to get a contract on Dana White's Contender Series, which is a huge show right now. He was winning that bout, and then he threw an illegal knee, grounded knee. And now they didn't, of course he got disqualified on the pussified UFC rule set. And then that's when the Epic RIZIN signed him and put him in this heavyweight Grand Prix. And he has been tearing it up, and I am really looking forward to seeing this final that's going to be this month, September 28th, versus the Polish fighter, Marek Somachuk. And he did a really good – I know you guys, are shitting on it because it wasn't a finish, but it was still a good piece enough of Jose Augusto with, very clever of, just breaking down his legs, chopping the tree out, basically, of leg kicks. What's this? Is this my 2-minute warning? No, look, hey, the reason this is a good tournament is because Dana White Contender Series legend Soldakin. This is showcase right here. This is coming out party. This is really going to turn him into a star. The winner of this Grand Prix is facing Ryan Bader on New Year's Eve this year. That's going to be a big. That's going to get international attention. Ryan Bader, hopefully, Hafid is going to tell Ryan Bader to hype this up at the Smashing Machine movie premiere, or at least mention it that he's fighting. So I mean, but look, I love how you're shitting on the opening round because of the decisions, but I love the format of this one. Look at the format. They had fighters from all different, and they hyped them up as being part of different organizations, right?
1 minute left. JayWolf speaking.
They had fighters from different, collaboration bouts, basically. Jose Augusto was from Bellator and LFA, right? Daniel James, Bellator. Marek Somachuk, KSW. Soldakin was from a Russian promotion, right? Ueda was from RIZIN. Dario, RIZIN. So it was just really cool to see the different organizations fight each other. And, it just, I don't know. I know that the cool thing is the shit on heavyweights. I mean, we didn't get as many finishes, but to me, this is a really fun tournament. I really like it. And the second round semifinals were really good. And the first round, Soldakin really did a fantastic banger with Prince that you guys don't give credit to. But just wait for this final. If this final has a finish, it's going to save this heavyweight Grand Prix. And then to face Ryan Bader and the international tension, and it's just really going to show it's going to make you guys eat crow about this tournament.
Well done, Jay. Well done. But
Thank you for those 2 minutes, by the way.
Here's where you got everything wrong. Allow me to lift the leg on your hopes and dreams on this. Jose Augusto nearly knocked out Tsuyoshi Sudario and didn't even know what to do afterwards. Like, he basically was playing with his food. You had the Marek Samochiyuk fight against Daniel James. Had I known that Daniel James was going to come in even slightly overweight, I would have never wanted to interview him. Because of the fact that I have family from the same area of the country that he is from. But still, though, point of the matter is that fight was just dog water. Terrible. As far as Soldakin goes, he struggled against Prince Al-Nala, a fighter who, oh, by the way, is middling down the road. Yeah, he the Hexagon FC, he the Hexagon MMA heavyweight champion, but he was a late notice replacement for a guy who was much tougher, much stronger, and much more competitive, in my opinion, in Islambek Batibek Ulu. And, of course, you had the Mikio Ueda finish. That was the highlight of the first round against Shoma Shibisai. Shoma was really a non-starter from the get-go. Then in the semifinals, you had Soldakin just scatter, smother, and cover like old Waffle House, like some Waffle House hash brown, so to speak. But still, though, Soldakin was just basically making Ueda useless on the ground until he knocked him out. He being Soldakin.
And those were like not punches to the back of the head too. So it wasn't even a clean TKO.
I mean, if anything, if he would have wanted to do those knee knockout, that knee knockout that he got disqualified during the Dana White Contender Series for, he would have gone and done that. But still don't. Between that and Samochiyuk basically smothering Jose Augusto for 3 rounds, we now got the worst case scenario. 2 European fighters fighting for the heavyweight Grand Prix title, and the grand prize is facing off against a known American MMA legend who's known for boring fights.
Come on, don't say legend. Okay, come on. Okay, we don't need to go into Ryan Bader. Ryan Bader is boring as hell.
Yeah, of course. But still, though, out of this tournament final, who do you think is more useful to face off against Ryan Bader? Soldakin or Samochiyuk?
Do I get to talk again?
Yes,
yeah.
You can speak.
100% Soldakin. To me, Soldakin is the star of this tournament right here. And this is basically his coming out party as the premier heavyweight in the Epic Rising Fighting Federation. Like I said, he was Dana White Contender Series legend. Go look up that fight. He was beating the guy's ass, and just because of the UFC pussified rule set, the only reason he got disqualified and didn't get signed. Otherwise, he'd be in the UFC right now, likely top 10. So he's a good all-around fighter. And, I mean, if Merrick beats him, it's going to be an upset. So, I mean, but Merrick has the capability, as we saw. I mean, he's got the striking. He knows how to outpoint him, but he just needs to be a finisher. He's not a finisher, so I just can't see him unless he just turns up to the next degree in this final. And I just can't see him putting out a guy like Soldakin, because Soldakin's a good fighter. So to me, this is Soldakin's fight to lose, and then we're going to see him face off with Ryan Bader and what I like to call the Bader with grounded knees theory, to where I just can't wait to see it. It's going to be awesome.
I have a little pop quiz for you, JayWolf.
Yes.
Which fighter?
Pop quiz, hot shot. What? Go ahead.
Which fighter is which on the poster here?
Soldakin's one with the beard.
They both have beards.
Stupid. They both have beards. Okay. Soldakin's the one with the longer beard on the right. The Polish fighter is the one with the blonde hair.
Okay, I'm just testing you, okay? I just want to make sure.
You're supposed to have like this in the movie Speed. Pop quiz, hot shot. What do you do?
No, I think it was pop quiz, asshole.
No,
But,
trust me, it's pop quiz, hot shot.
I mean, you probably watched the you probably watched the edited for TV version. I actually watched that version.
All right. I mean, that was my boy Dennis Hopper saying that in rest in peace in one of the best '90s movies around. Probably made Sandra Bullock into a star. Keanu Reeves as before The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Just man.
Only if this heavyweight Grand Prix could produce a star.
It's going to, Casey. Sodakin is going to be that star produced. You guys watch.
It's gonna be a star, right? A fallen star.
What do they call something that's not a star?
What?
I don't know. It's not gonna be the winner here.
It would probably. I mean, the opposite of a fallen star is a complete dud. And I think that if this tournament ends in anything but a finish, it's gonna be a complete dud.
No, Bader has to have his head bounce off each ring rope for this to be a good tournament.
Oh, you mean like a bull rope match?
Yeah, we got to add a stipulation to this match.
Oh, dude.
So this is going to be the birth of a new star, like a supernova. It's going to be Alaner Supernova Sodakin. It's going to be the winner of this. And the inverse of a star is a black hole. That's a star collapses and creates a black hole, right?
So, that's Ryan Bader's career.
We're talking about the RIZIN heavyweight division, not the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, jeez. Okay, let's focus on the flyweights now.
Yes, please. Let's talk about the flyweight Grand Prix, the actual better Grand Prix that's going on right now. Of which, despite the fact that the first round ended in three decisions, Montoya over Hiroya Kondo, which I'll never forget Billy Bigelow saying to Hiroya, "You're going to be a champion one day. It just takes time." Then you had Hiromasa Kubo beating Jose Shorty Torres, which Torres is really loved by the Japanese fan base. In case you haven't noticed, the dude just oozes culture, even though he's a Mexican American from Chicago. But still, though, hopefully Torres will get a reserve opportunity. Yuki Ito beat Nakazi Mulo Zulu, and Zulu was really disappointing compared to his recent opportunity, which was against Kyoji Horiguchi for the flyweight title at RIZIN 49 back on New Year's Eve. So that was a non-starter. And then you had the two finishes. Alibek Zamatov, who wants to be the future of Dagestani MMA. He knocked out Takaki Soya. And you had Makoto Shinryu Takahashi submitting Ursin Badman Yamamoto, who also was a non-starter in this tournament. I mean,
I'd say more than Zulu was. I mean, that was the biggest disappointment was Yamamoto, in my opinion.
It
was embarrassing.
But if you look at how this tournament is structured, so whereas now you have in the tournament semifinals, you have, and I'm just looking down the list here, you have Yuki Motoya versus Makoto Shinryu in semifinal number 1. Motoya, obviously a former deep flyweight and bantamweight champion. Shinryu, former two promotion flyweight champion in Deep and Cage Fury, but also a 2-time world title challenger for both RIZIN and Bellator. Both disappointing showings against Kyoji Horiguchi. That's on one end. You have Hiromasa Kubo, the 2021 Japan Bantamweight Grand Prix winner, going up against a literal steamroller in Alibek Zamatov, who has all finishes on his 6-fight record so far. And then you have the odd man out, which is Yuki Ito. He's waiting to see if he's going to face off against Jose Shorty Torres or whoever's not in the tournament field in the reserve fight. I mean, do you think that this tournament has been more mystery more than anything else?
So I think the tournament has been producing some fun fights so far. We look at Yuki Matoya versus Kondo. I think that's a good fight. Hiroya, as more people call him. I'd say that was a good fight, even though it was a decision. Torres versus Okikubo was also good. I feel like that was a very close fight of the ones listed here. Ito versus Zulu. I think that was the best fight of the opening round. Ito obviously did not get the vote to enter into the next stage of the semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's been a good tournament so far.
I mean, come to think of it, would you say the fact that this tournament featured 10 men instead of 8 or even 16 was probably the deciding factor on how weird this thing got?
Yeah, it would have been nice to have it be 16 men, but then we had this heavyweight Grand Prix taking up some of those slots. I mean,
I know you're not blaming that on the heavyweight Grand Prix.
Let's face it.
You guys, man, Casey, I was nice enough to not harp on Ian McCall cutting his head on the ring ropes earlier and shitting on the ring for you.
Ian McCall, though. Anything could happen to him. He's walking outside, he gets hit with a piano, you know?
I just can't believe you're blaming the flyweight Grand Prix being, kind of mid so far with on the heavyweight Grand Prix. That's just, man. But you know what? It's not that mid, to be honest with you. It's pretty cool. There was just, it just was some decisions. That's all there was to it, And you're right. The Matoya and Hiroya fight was pretty cool, even though it was a decision. The Torres Ojikubo was kind of a, it was cool, but it wasn't like super action-packed decision, right? That was kind of a toss-up fight, in my opinion. A lot of people were saying that Torres, they were saying it was the closest decision on this Grand Prix, to where that's why people are calling for Torres to come back instead of a more popular fighter like Hiroya, basically, right? Mm-hmm. And then I agree with King Silo and Jay Krish that Ito Zulu was the best fight of the first round. It had
Well, I didn't say that Ito versus Zulu was the best fight in the first round. In my opinion, the best fight of the first round of the flyweight tournament would have probably gone to, and I know this is kind of a layup considering the fact that this was a finish, but Ali Beck over Soya.
Okay, well, let me rephrase that. It was the best decision of the first decision fight of the first round.
I mean, in my opinion, if I were to say the best decision of the first round, I think it would have been Torres versus Okikubo.
Really? You thought that one was more exciting than... Because I thought Ito, the striking was better in Ito Zulu. But that's a matter of opinion. But yeah, the Gazimatov finish was sensational. It was like a front kick, Anderson Silva Vitor style front kick knockout, right? Mm-hmm. And a Chandler Ferguson front kick style knockout, right? So that was really fun. And if it wasn't for that, I would say this one is on par with the heavyweight Grand Prix, because the heavyweight Grand Prix has some finishes as well. It's just that Gazimatov finish was the best finish of either Grand Prix so far. I mean, I don't really count the Shinryu Yamamoto one. That was, I don't know what, dude, that was so disappointing. Yamamoto literally picks up Shinryu and he goes and slams him into his corner so he can listen to his corner. But as he slams him, he falls right into a guillotine and gets choked out.
Basically, it was just as disastrous as Jarrett Brooks versus Jose Shorty Torres.
Yeah, it was bad, dude. I was like, what is Urson? I mean, how could you? But you know what? A testament to Shinryu. It's because Shinryu is that good of a grappler. That's all there is to it. Urson just underestimated him and got caught. And Shinryu, when he saw the opening, he just literally jumped on it and guillotined him. That's all there is to it. Because Shinryu is a good fighter, so it was just pretty embarrassing for Urson, and I mean, just I don't know. I just think that you guys are selling the heavyweight Grand Prix short and overhyping the flyweight Grand Prix to compensate for how much you're hating on the heavyweight Grand Prix.
I think I'm giving credit where credit is due when it comes down to the flyweight Grand Prix.
Well, then look. How about why can't you guys acknowledge how cool it is that the heavyweight Grand Prix is like a collaboration Grand Prix. Merrick is still repping KSW, and he's going to be repping KSW in the final coming up at the end of this month, September 28th on Rizin.tv. And as a matter of fact,
as a KSW fighter though,
it doesn't matter. He is still. They are counting it for KSW's rankings. Daniel Zubicki, our friend from Poland in the Rizin Discord, he said, confirmed that Merrick has risen up from number 10 to number 3 just because of this Rizin Heavyweight Grand Prix.
As far as fighters outside the UFC go?
No, for KSW's heavyweight rankings.
Oh, okay.
So it's like KSW is counting his fights in Rizin for the KSW rankings. It just shows the total collaboration going on between them.
Because of the fact that there's not enough challengers left for Phil DeFries to go around, and if he were to face off against somebody else, it would make sense to have that fighter be Marek Samolchiuk if Samolchiuk doesn't already get himself planned for facing off against Ryan Bader.
Well, okay. But I still think it's cool that there's a collaboration aspect of the heavyweight Grand Prix that you guys are not acknowledging, and it's not there in the flyweight Grand Prix. But about the flyweight Grand Prix, Jay Chris, you brought up about how there's only 10 combatants, and that created what was a voting scenario where some media people and esteemed fans, one of them being in our own Rizin Discord, Anarchy MMA, got to vote on who got to advance to the next round and who was going to be in the reserve ballot, right? So I thought that was really fun. It was done really late at night. I had to set my alarm to wake up for that, but it was really fun watching that live in the Discord with everybody.
I mean, it was basically like everybody trying to do their own campaign speeches, so to speak.
Yeah, and then they had like an official vote. Like they literally modeled it after like how the official voting goes in Japan. And they had everybody come up there, drop their slips in. It was so fun trying to figure out which one was Anarchy MMA. And just, man, we were having such a good time talking about that when it was happening. They took them in the back, counted all the votes up, came out, read all the votes off. And then the matchups that got the most votes are now in the semifinals. And you already said them, but it was Montoya versus Ojikubo and Gazimadov versus Shinryu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then Ito was voted as the reserve alternate. And they got to vote to bring back who they're going to bring back to face him. And I'm sure you saw that tweet. I saw your comment on it, Jay Krish. You want it to be Jose Torres, but a lot of fans also want it to be Hiroya. So there's those are the two leading candidates to be brought back to face Ito in the reserve belt.
Yeah, but in the case of, and I know the Japanese fans don't really care much about records, but on this side of the Pacific, and you know this well, JayWolf, records are all people ever look at. And I think that it would be best for somebody with a good record as Jose Torres, and if I'm looking down the list, Jose Torres has a record of 13-5-1 compared to somebody who's 9-12 in Hiroya Kondo.
Yes, but that you're looking at it from an international perspective. Look at how the Japanese perspective for them, Hiroya is the much more popular fighter, probably will help sell much more tickets than Torres, even though, like you were saying, Torres is very, very well liked in Japan. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see what they vote on. But I thought that was pretty fun. King CeeLo is closing the graphics, so he's ready to move on.
I think it's only going to be a matter of time before we see Ito versus Torres rather than Ito versus Montoya. But hopefully tomorrow night when they announce everything, as we're going to probably be trying to either stay up or set our alarms trying to check this out. We'll hopefully not be disappointed with whoever Rizin picks.
Wait, they're supposed to be revealing who the alternate is tomorrow as well?
At least I hope. I mean, they wouldn't have a late notice announcement trying to get everybody hyped up if they didn't do that.
Oh,
I think
I
it's
thought
only
it was
for the
for
co-main
Landmark
event.
12.
I mean, it's probably going to be for both, to be honest with y'all.
Okay, that would make sense. So we're gonna see if it's either Hiroya or Torres, probably. Those are the two that I was seeing mentioned the most, versus Ito for the alternate, and then we'll get some Landmark 12 matchups.
Yeah, of course we will. Now, I see that you're ready to move on, King CeeLo. I mean, considering the fact that we said this was going to be at least 90 minutes or 2 hours, what's the occasion here?
Okay, so how about we discuss some of the best knockouts in Ryzen history?
Okay.
Absolutely. Here, list them off, KC, and then we'll give our opinions on what we think are.
Okay, so let's just see here. Let me just make sure I have everything up correctly. Yeah, so what would you say would be one of the best knockouts in your mind?
Of your graphics right here?
Or just anyone that comes to your mind.
Oh, well, from your graphics, definitely the the Chihiro Suzuki versus Patricio pound for pound Pitbull. That was one of the greatest. I mean, right there in the center, right where my picture's at right now, that's Chihiro knocking out Patricio pound for pound Pitbull. That was, to me, that was upset of the year and knockout of the year candidate all in one. That was sensational. But then you got the one up above that in the bad boy trunks in the center doing a grounded knee knockout. Who is that? Is that Taha?
I
Yes,
mean,
Taha versus Ishibashi.
Yeah. So I mean, I love my superior rule set knockouts. You know which one I have as number one though? I'll just tell you right now. It was from the Epic Ryzen Trigger first event, their very first caged event, and that was Kinoshita's Stomp DQ. That was originally a knockout, a stomp knockout, but then Shinya Aoki cried. He was the corner man of the guy that got knocked out, and he cried that Kinoshita was holding on to the cage a little bit. So they got it overturned after the fact to be a disqualification or no contest, whatever it was. But originally that was a knockout, and it was the most sensational stomp knockout that we've seen since the Almighty Pride FC. So that is my number one knockout. I don't care if it was overturned later to disqualification. But that one, the Kinoshita stomp knockout disqualification is my personal number one out of all of them. I absolutely love that. That was the best modern era knockout that we've seen, in my opinion.
I think I would have, in my opinion, a couple of knockouts that would please my fancy. For one, the knockout of the year. No, for one, the all-time favorite knockout for Ryzen, in my opinion, would be definitely Charles Crazy Horse or Felony, whatever you want to call him, Bennett, knocking out Minoru Philip Kimura back on September 25th, 2016. Everybody remembers where they were when they seen that happen, and when Barnett when Bennett said, well, I'm not going to repeat all of what he said, but he just basically said to Vanderlei Silva, I run fast. And unless you want to unless your big steroid head ass want to get at me, just to let you know, I run fast.
J. Chris, can you fix the pictures and put us back on the side in the column, or no?
Yeah, I can go ahead and do that. But I would also say that my favorite knockout,
there we go,
as far as Ryzen goes, I mean, it would have to be a lot more recent, would it? I mean, my taste basically vary from time to time, and who knows? It would probably be. I mean, I would probably even say nowadays it would have to be Razabali Shadullayev knocking out Kleber Koike.
Ooh, that was a good one. Let's go. Look at the list that KC has up here. What's the one in the top left corner right there? Is that Ueda?
Yes, that's Sidario getting KO'd.
Ueda high kicking Sidario. Then we got the one in the center in the bad boy trunks. That's
Yeah,
Taha,
versus Ishibashi.
ground and knee. And then the one in the far in the right hand corner is Cruikshank and who's kneeing right there?
Oh, you know what?
Diego.
Darren Cruikshank versus Luxor Matsumoto.
And then in the bottom left-hand corner right there, that's the Chihiro Suzuki up kick KO of Karamov, where Chihiro won the title. And then in the center, of course, is Chihiro, this one of the all-time greats, knocking out Patricio pound for pound Pitbull. And then what's the one in the bottom right-hand corner in the yellow bad boy trunks?
So that's Yusuke Yachi KOing Cruikshank. So Cruikshank has been on both ends of the spectrum here. He's had some of the best KOs, like in the top right-hand corner, which is his KO of Diego Brandao. He also has that earlier KO that Jay Chris was talking about over Masimoto, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had another KO again on the first Rizin event against Sasaki, Megumi Fuji's husband. So he's had quite a few good KOs, a couple of them in the superior Ruleset variety. He really was great with the soccer kicks and grounded knees.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Absolutely. Do you have another? I thought you had another one of these picture knockouts.
So I have submissions as well.
Oh, submissions. Okay. I see the twister there. One of them, right? Oh wait, no, that's not a twister. That's a knee bar. It looks like.
Yeah, let me see.
The scissor choke. I remember that one.
That's Kleber versus Archuleta on that knee bar kind of heel hook situation. I think last year. In the bottom right corner, we have Shinryu versus Ito, which was a really cool guillotine jumping situation there. We have Tioka versus Cruikshank in the middle, bottom right here. That was a really great come from behind submission. We have Mitoya versus Scoggins up in the middle here. That was a TP choke. So that was a very rare submission right there. We have Imanari showing off that he can also submit people via armbar instead of just heel hooks. And then we have Satoshi versus Case, which was a really cool armbar triangle situation submission.
Nice. Yeah, that's a cool looking picture right there. I'm surprised you didn't include any of the twisters. Who's Mr. Twister? Pop quiz, hot shot. Who's Mr. Twister?
Joji Goto.
There we go. I'm surprised you didn't have one of Soto's twisters in there. And then also, how about the one we were talking about earlier with Satoshi-san doing the flying triangle over Musayev. And then also Reina Kubota, Striker Queen Reina of all people, in her debut, I remember she had a flying triangle victory. So those are some good submissions. I like the honorable mentions.
Mm-hmm. That much for sure.
So those are some good lists. How about we go to, can we do events? Do we have time for events or no?
I mean, we got time for events.
Yeah,
we're over the hour mark for sure, but we can go ahead and spare a few moments.
And Casey, real quick before you get off the submissions, you said that was called the one in the center, the TP choke, right?
Yeah.
So that's not a leg scissor choke, it's a TP choke, but that was a really cool one.
I think a leg scissors is when somebody more sophisticated in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu could tell me, but I think the legs have to be in a different orientation.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of a famous choke in that format. I don't think there's been one in Rizin or even the UFC, but yeah, it's a very similar submission, I'd say.
But that is a fantastic submission. I'm so glad you included that one. I remember when that happened. That was really cool. That was definitely a submission of the year candidate. Just, I'm glad you got Satoshi-san on the list. So really great list by King Silo.
Okay, so let's go to some of our favorite events that have occurred in Rizin.
Yes, and this is a King Silo special here. King Silo has a tier list where he goes from awesome to great to good.
We do the worst?
I mean, come to think of it, they've had about 60 events so far in their history?
I thought it was 72. Or is that counting this year?
72 and counting.
Yeah. So, but was the 72 number? Does that count? Rising 51, Landmark 12, and New Year's Eve.
I think that counts the next two. I'm not sure. That's just what
Well,
I was
that's
basing the
they got
shirt on.
74 events according to Wikipedia.
So
But
after the next two.
yeah, they're
Okay.
getting close to about 80 events by the time next year starts.
Okay, cool. So they're over 70 plus events right now.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
I can't
so
wait to see King Cilo's list here.
I'm going to pull up a random event, and you're going to tell me how you would grade it. Would you say it was a great event? Would you say it's a good event, an average event, a bad one?
Okay, you're not gonna, you don't have your.
I don't want to reveal. I don't want to give my hand too much here. This could be a whole
Okay.
episode.
You want to keep it secret?
This could be a whole episode, you know? Okay, so name an event, for example.
Mhm.
Jay Chris, what's an event that you would like to look back on?
An event that I would like to look back on is I'm drawing a blank here. Ryzen 2016 World Grand Prix first round.
Okay.
What would you rate that?
Which one was that? Was that the open weight?
Yeah, it was actually the start of the second open weight Grand Prix, but also the aforementioned Crazy Horse Bennett knockout.
Wait, I thought there was only one open weight. The other one was heavyweight.
I mean, you could basically equate it as either or.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the one that Krokop won.
Yeah, the one that Krokop won.
I love that one. I love those earlier Ryzens. The early Ryzens where they had the 10-minute first round still. It was awesome. Oh, hey, J. Chris. JC is saying you got to share the screen again.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let me go ahead and do that. Add to stage, and there you go.
Okay, so we're looking back at the Ryzen Fighting World Grand Prix 2016 first round. Remember when event names were really difficult?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just look at this card from top to bottom. Starting at the bottom first, we have Garcia. How much mileage you get off a Garcia fight really depends on what you view as a fun MMA fight. It's freak show at its purest form here. So would you say that I would say this is one of the better Gabby Garcia freak show fights, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barbara is a former women's football player, right?
Well, current women's football player. She just recently won a championship.
Oh. So it's good to see that she's still an athlete.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, nobody's really talked to her about her Ryzen career since she fought in Ryzen.
I think she had a couple fights in Road FC too. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she has. But still, though, let's continue.
Yeah, so then we have Murata versus Batara, which is that. Yes, so that Combate America's representative.
Mm-hmm.
So we had Campbell coming over, doing a promoter versus promoter angle.
Oh, Lord. I mean, come to think of it, no disrespect to Campbell McLaren, but the dude was pretty annoying.
We have the much discussed Bennett versus Kimura 7-second KO with possibly the best post-fight speech ever. Whether
no wonder Casey. I mean, no wonder J. Chris likes that one.
Oh yeah, of course.
And we have the open weight Grand Prix here. So we kind of discussed that a little bit earlier, so we can skip over that part.
Mm-hmm.
We have Arsen Yamamoto versus Saga. So that was actually a pretty good fight. There was a bunch of suplexes in there.
I mean, come to think of it, aside from Kizaimon's wife, I mean, that particular fight was just incredible if you drown out all the screaming.
Yeah, probably one of the best fights you could see of MMA fighters this record level, I'd say. Very inexperienced at the time, and we thought Arsen Yamamoto was going to really redeem himself after facing Kron Gracie.
Well, hey, as a great philosopher known as Eddie Kingston once said, redeem these nuts.
Yeah. Ernst and Yamamoto would go on to be submitted by many people.
Yeah, of course.
Kurt
And
versus Andy Sauer. So this one was kind of one of those talent mismatch fights where Ryzen was really putting a kickboxer into the deep end of the pool.
yep. And that's why Andy Sauer ended up going to that Downs One Championship.
Hey, looking for Hasan-san's comment, talking about the name of this event. Isa no Mai, talking about what it means. That now is the time. It's pretty cool.
I think that's the first New Year's Eve event.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so this one is the 2016 one. But yeah, I did not know what it all meant at the time. I thought it was like, yeah, I guess that does check out. So then we have, a couple more of those open weight fights, and then we get into the striker queen, as some would say, versus Miyu Yamamoto. So this was Miyo's debut in MMA, so it was kind of taking place after her sporting life really concluded in wrestling. So she was a late addition to the MMA game, unfortunately. But this was a really big women's fight at the time.
I
As you
mean,
can see with his co-main event slot.
You say very late like it's a good thing. I mean, if she was a decade younger and maybe on a more vicious streak, she would have probably gotten a few finishes in her career.
Yeah, so it's really a what-if situation.
But then, in the main event, you had Karan Gracie beating Hideo Tokoro. And nothing's more disappointing than the fact that this dude has fought in the UFC and done next to nothing. And now that he's been released from the UFC since June, is now August. I mean, you have to wonder, what is this living, breathing conspiracy theorist gonna do now that he can't fight anymore?
What weight class is he?
He's a lightweight.
Oh, I know what to do with him.
Let me guess. Put him in the not put him in the Grand Prix, but against Roberto Satoshi Sosa.
Oh, maybe, but that's not. I was thinking Saku Jr.
Again? No, wait, actually, not again. But do we really want to continue the Sakuraba Gracie lineage?
Yeah. Do you not see that he just came out with a new Gracie Hunter T-shirt line?
Wow.
I mean, that's like sort of Sakuraba's thing, right? So why not have his son Saku Jr. continue the tradition of fighting Gracies?
I mean,
you don't think that'd sell well?
That would work, but I don't know what they would mean by actually making that worthwhile,
I don't know. If they could dig up, is Hoist still alive? They could dig up Hoist, have him come out there.
Hoist is still alive, as is Henzo. So
they could dig them up, have them come out there, corner Kron. Sakuraba would be in Saku Jr.'s corner. Man, I could see that. That'd be quite a spectacle. I think the Japanese fans would love that.
Yeah, I think Tokoro did really well against Gracie here. He did better than Kawajiri did in his fight, I think at New Year's Eve, right? I think that would be the next fight for Kron Gracie.
Okay, and I mean, of course, that would be great, but still, I mean, that would be interesting, but still, though, it's all about if Kron wants to continue to fight, because he's been taking all his time off, being stupid and shouting silly shit. But still, though, it's all about if he wants to fight. That's the main purpose. If not, who cares? JayWolf, what say you? What has been your favorite event of Rizin's so far?
Ooh, man, since I know what King Silo's charts has at number 1, which is also in my top 3 events.
Okay. So name one of the other top 3, okay?
Okay. You don't want me to? Okay, I won't give away what King Silo's number 1 is. My number 1 is Rizin Trigger First. I absolutely love that show. That was the Cage debut. or I guess that was their first Rizin, the official Rizin cage event. Their first cage event was a Bellator collaboration where the post limbs that we couldn't see for the longest time was like the test run of Rizin Superior rule set action in the cage, and that culminated with Yusaki Yachi scoring a soccer kick knockout or grounded kick knockout that really made them go, oh wow, this is pretty cool. So they started doing cage events, and they originally were called trigger events, which then had to later be rebranded into the landmark events. But this trigger first event was so action packed and just, I mean, it was one of the most violent events in the history of the Epic Rizin Fighting Federation. This is the one that had Kinoshita's all-time great stomp KO that got turned into a disqualification afterwards. It was so cool, and it was headlined, cherried by Hagiwara doing a grounded kick knockout that just absolutely cherried the event.
Well, actually, let me go ahead and run down this card for you, King CeeLo. In the prelims, you had basically 4 of the first 5 fights being kickboxing fights. The only one that was of interest to MMA fans was Kenji Kato knocking out Katsuya Fujiwara in a fight that really wasn't a finish. It was just a TKO due to injury. But hey, at least half of the kickboxing fights ended in knockouts. Then you had, in MMA action, you had Daiki Tsubata knocking out Makoto Kamaya, 2 minutes 49 seconds of round number 2. Then you had Grant Bogdanov, American Jiu-Jitsu specialist, who also is a member of the United States military, by the way. Go ahead and do your salute, JayWolf, if you're... Yeah, of course. Grant Bogdanov knocked out pro wrestler, pay me guy, Keisuke Okuda of Dragon Gate, 1 minute 7 seconds. Actually, it wasn't a knockout. It was a submission due to a rear naked choke. I still remember the party that was going on back in Bogdanov's hometown of San Diego when they had the viewing party for that. And you had Chihiro Suzuki, I guess making his MMA debut, beating Sora Yamamoto.
Was that Chihiro's MMA debut? Was that his debut?
I think it was the second fight in Rizin.
Yeah, that was the second fight in Rizin. He lost to Shoji Maruyama back at Rizin 30 previous to that.
Only a couple months before that, a quick turnaround, as would become a custom for him.
Yeah, and then you had the rest of the fight card. Tatsuki Sawamoto beating Takashi Matsuba via split decision. You had Mamoru Oi Full Swing knocking out Hiroki Yamashita, punch, soccer kick. You had
that was another violent KO right there. Go check that one out. Awesome.
Exactly. Then you had the aforementioned Yusaku Kinoshita finish over Ryuichiro Suimura, but of course that got overturned into a disqualification because of fence grabbing. And
but that's bullshit. I don't care. It was originally one of the greatest knockouts in the history of mixed martial arts, certainly of this new era. And at the time it happened, it was absolutely sensational, and just we didn't find out it was disqualified until later on. So, but it was so freaking awesome. Go look that one up. It was literally the best modern era stomp KO since Almighty Pride FC. Just really, man, it was sensational. I just absolutely loved it.
Then you had Kichi Strasa Kunimoto submitting Takahiro Kawanaka, 4 minutes 10 seconds via arm triangle choke submission. Then you had in a 150-pound catchweight fight, our boy, who is now retired, Hirotaka Nakata, lost to Yoshinori Horii, who most recently competed for the Rizin lightweight title.
And he's on December 28th, he's competing for the Rizin title, right? Or no, November 12th November. When is Landmark 12?
I think Landmark 12 is in November.
Yeah, it's the first week of November, right? Is it November 3rd?
I mean, I'm trying to do my best to search for that now. I mean, come on, man. I basically got my goddamn hands tied.
Okay, it's the first week of November, whatever it is. That's Landmark 12. But is that the one that Hori is fighting Satoshi on, or is that September 51?
Let me check because again, Yoshinori Horie Yoshinori Horie will be fighting Roberto Satoshi Souls at Rizin 51. That's coming up 4 weeks from now.
And he's fighting for the title 51. And he was, so now right here is a co-main event.
And Rizin Landmark 12 in Kobe is going to be taking place November 3rd.
Oh, it is November 3rd. Okay, cool.
But still, though, point of the matter is, in the main event, Kyohei Hakiwara knocked out Shoji Moriyama.
And that was with a grounded kick. And that's pinned. If you go look at my timeline on X or Twitter, that's my pinned tweet. It was so fun. I had such a good time with this event. I tweeted out right afterwards about how Hagiwara absolutely cherried this event with a grounded kick knockout. And I got the footage is up on my pinned tweet on my Twitter timeline. So go check that out. It was just, man, this event was just so awesome. I put it in the awesome tier of King Silo's chart.
But King Silo, how would you grade Rizin Trigger 1?
Yeah, so what are some things that are standing out to you? These fights don't involve the best talent. I mean, we're just taking a look at the first.
Of course, they didn't involve the best talent, CeeLo, because Rizin was capped off. Not only that was triggered, but it was capped off by the pandemic.
Yeah, Hagiwara. Okay, so that's a nice KO, but that's also a cage grab.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at JayWolf's picture, you'll see a cage grab there.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's why I'm so mad that they disqualified Kinoshita's, which is my opinion is a KO of the year or a KO of the decade so far. I mean, it was that good. And then look at Full Swing's grounded kick knockout. This is one of the most violent, superior rule set cards in Rizin's history. You got future champions on there, Chihiro Suzuki. I mean,
it is arguably his like second or third worst, most boring fight.
Oh Lord!
I know why King Seal's hating on it because it's in the cage. He's a cage hater.
You got okay. I'll give you this. You got the jobber of all jobbers on here.
No, but it was a fun event. Just extremely violent at the top. I mean, just it was great.
I'd say this is a very good event for 2021 with the COVID era. It would still be a good event today, but we would just kind of look at it as just all violence and no substance.
And it was historic because it was the first cage event.
Yeah, which is true. So, okay, so which one of you guys want to pick another event to look at? We'll take a look at one more event, then we'll sign off.
I mean, come to think of it, it's all your choice, JayWolf. What about you?
Oh, man, you know what? I'd like to mention the original events. Can we count those as one? Or do I have to pick one of them? Because remember, like King Silla, we briefly touched on it when we were talking about the Grand Prix. But the original event was like 2 days apart, right? Yeah. And it was like and it had opening ceremonies. It had the banner. It had the collaboration of all the different. It was like an actual federation with the banners, like Bellator even won championship, and everybody was sending fighters over. And it was, I mean, it even had Fedor Emelianenko, the actual GOAT of mixed martial arts, was on there. It had Striker Queen Reina. I mean, it was just, Jiri Prohaska, Nemkov. I mean, and the opening ceremonies had Takada banging on the drums and the fundoshi, doing like a passing the torch from the Pride FC, Almighty Pride FC era to the brand new Epic Rising Fighting Federation era. It was just, and they were using the Pride theme as well for the opening ceremony. And it was just, I mean, other than Otoko Matsuri, that was the best opening ceremonies I think that we've seen. And just, I mean, the Otoko Matsuri just took it to the next level. That was the greatest opening ceremony we've seen since the Almighty Pride FC. That was absolutely sensational, and I mean, just all those guys, bringing back all those guys in the fundoshi, banging on the drums. Sakakibara-san, the rose goat out there in the fundoshi with the banner hanging off his dick, saying Men's Festival.
Whoa! We're
Okay.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, his groin area. The banner that came down from his groin area.
Jay, is you want to look back at the second event for Rizin.
Yeah, the point is that the Otoko Matsuri opening ceremony is the best opening ceremony on Almighty Pride FC, but these first two events were the sensational opening ceremonies. I loved it. And Furuhata-san is talking about the Saraba means goodbye. See, so that's they were saying goodbye to the Almighty Pride FC era, and then the next one, I forget what he said. What was the easy no my was something that this is the time or something saying, yeah, now is the time. So it was goodbye to Almighty Pride FC era, and now is the time of the Rizin Fighting Federation era, and it just. Man, those first events were just sensational. I just absolutely loved them.
So, which event would you pick?
Oh man, I was just trying to think of that while I was explaining them. They were both so freaking cool. I mean, gosh, yeah. See, Furuhata-san just confirmed it. Yeah. So, man, which one was Fader Emelianenko on? Was he on the first day or second day?
He was on the second day.
Second day, and that was when they had the 2 one-night Grand Prix on them, right? Or the one-night Grand Prix final.
Yeah, the Grand Prix final on it. And
okay, I'm taking that one. I'm picking the one with Fader Emelianenko and the Grand Prix final that King Mo won.
Yeah, if we look up the card real quick, Reina Kubota had a beautiful triangle armbar.
That was the flying armbar.
Okay, it was a triangle armbar. Either way, it was beautiful when she did it against Jelena Valentino.
It'd still be beautiful.
Can you put the mic closer to your mouth again?
Yeah, so that was a very good submission. That was kicking off the card too, so it was a great way to start.
And then you had King Mo and Lutkin, aka Theodoros Oxteroids. Then you had Yuri Prohaska knocking out, brutalizing Vadim Nemkov to the point where Vadim couldn't survive the next 5 minutes. Then,
now one of the best fights in Rizin history, in my opinion. Just really back and forth, great action.
Then you had Irish Brennan Ward getting out of the Mohican Sun for once and submitting Ken Hasegawa. Then you had Sushul Kim beating Mikey Linares. Oh, and by the way, the first 2 Rizin cards also featured the first ever no contest in Rizin history, which Yuki Motoya was a part of. But also, you had Mikey Linares, who would become a future UFC fighter. Then you had kickboxing. Takaru Sagawa knocking out Yang Ming. So that made him very familiar to Rizin fans when it came down to the match some 6 years later. Some 6.5 years later. Then you had the fight that was hyped on Impact Wrestling a lot. Gabby Garcia versus Lady Tapa, Sini Drawn. Then you had Bob Sapp getting one of his 2 wins in the Rizin Fighting Federation. Hard to believe, right? But he defeated Bob Sapp defeated the late great Chad Ronan, aka Akibono Taro, with Caesar Takeshi as the special guest referee, the godfather of shoot boxing. Then you had Barto Kaido Hoverson beating the Dutch lumberjack Peter Ertz. You had Andy Sauer knocking out Yuichiro Gienatsu Nakashima. Come for the draws on the face of Nakashima. Stay for getting your molar knocked out.
Yeah, the teeth were all over the mat.
And that's what led to Nakashima retiring from fight sports altogether. Then Kron, Gracie, submitted Ersin Batman Yamamoto in, I think, Yamamoto's MMA debut. And it was also when Ersin had his uncle, Norifumi Kid Yamamoto, at his side. And then, obviously, these fights kind of vary a little differently because on the Russian side of things, the Fedor versus Jaideep Hart Singh fight was the main event. They didn't give a shit about King Mo versus Jiri Prohaska. I mean, on the English side here in this country, they aired the King Mo Jiri Prohaska fight first before Fedor versus Singh. Either
Yeah,
way,
because remember they hyped it up as Breakfast with Fader. Remember that on Spike TV, and they did it stupidly. Instead of airing it live, they decided to air it on tape delay the next day at like 10 a.m. in the morning on a work day. It wasn't even New Year's or anything. It was just a terrible decision by Spike TV people. They should have aired it live and then replay if they wanted to. 10 times more ratings.
but still, though, you had Fedor knocking out Jaideep Hart Singh. You had King Mo winning the first RIZIN tournament over Jiri Prohaska in what would begin a nice little two-fight rivalry. But still, though, King CeeLo, how would you rate this? How would you rate this fight card? And then we're gonna go ahead and close.
So I would put this as a good fight card. The bout that really stands out to me, unfortunately, is the Fedor matchup with Singh here. I would have kind of hoped for any other heavyweight in the world, really. It could have been James Thompson. It could have been TK2 for Fedor. Or wait, 3. Fedor versus TK3 would have been a better fight. We could have had Chris Barnett that would later appear at RIZIN 1. Anybody but besides Singh that was coming from over from K1. Just a very lame doc matchup for Fedor. Let's see what else we got here. Well, we have Bob Sapp versus Akibono. That was a very bloody affair under shootboxing rules.
Yeah, because
Oh.
Sapp basically clipped the back of Akibono's head. I remember.
But Sapp actually fought in that one. You guys remember that? Remember before that fight, there was like, it's like, will Bob Sapp actually fight or will he just take another dive or whatever, right? And he actually fought. He put effort into it.
I have a piece of trivia here. Akibono is the only person to appear in both RIZIN and WrestleMania. Would you say that's a fact?
True. And Wrestle Kingdom as well.
Yeah, so I guess we got that going for Akibono right there, even though it was a pretty named up matchup. Let's see. Takaru. This is obviously a very important fight here, even though it was against Yang. But it was really a way of seeing Takaru for the first time because K1 really wasn't that available overseas yet. We have Kim. Kim would become a bigger player in the current decade, but he went years and years without a RIZIN appearance. Let's see. Like you were talking about earlier, we have one of the best fights in RIZIN history. Yuri versus Vadim. We have a great submission here as the opener. Yeah, so I'd say this is a pretty good card overall. It's not as good as the December 29th first event in RIZIN history because that one started off really crazy with TK versus James Thompson. But it also had Aoki versus Sakuraba, which is a really big letdown as well. Way bigger than Fedor versus Singh.
Well, it was a letdown because that fight ended with so many people in tears because they probably thought they saw the end of an era.
Yeah, it was the end of something for sure. It was also the begin and ending of the RIZIN and One Championship, or One FC at the time, co-promotion.
Yeah, of course.
Wait, so Kim on this one, Sucho Kim was not part of One at the time on this card?
I think he may have been going from One to Road, but let's see.
He probably was with Road at the time.
Yes. Yeah, so he was in One back in 2013. So a very suspicious exit here.
He was.
So was that the first time that he had fought in RIZIN?
Yeah.
So That was not considered a collaboration between One and Rizin then.
It was more Road FC.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just checking. Because you're right. For the first one, they did have the One FC banner. And they had Bellator's banner. They had KSW. All kinds of banners. It was really cool. Like I said, the opening ceremony. The only one that tops it was the Otoko Matsuri with the Rose Goat and the Fundoshi announcing for the fighters to come on out there. That was peak. And Yuri is they're banging the drum. Mark Coleman banging the drum with the Fundoshi. That was peak. Otoko Matsuri. I hope they do that again someday.
I mean, come to think of it, there probably might be some times when they can do that again as long as they're all healthy. But, there's nothing like your first. And when it came down to Rizin's first two shows, I mean, they definitely left. I mean, I can't say they left a lot to be, what am I trying to say? I can't say they left a lot on the table to be desired, but they definitely left no crumbs either.
Well, King CeeLo, you didn't say what yours was. Or are you trying to save that for another show or something?
Yeah, we're saving that for future episodes.
Oh, yeah. And Takumi said, somebody found Twitter. AJ McKee wrote he might show up in Rizin sometime.
Oh, nice. Hey, Furuhata-san, thank you very much for the inside info there. AJ McKee talking about possibly showing up. I'm assuming he's talking about this year, New Year's Eve. Maybe it could be.
Come to think of it, between him and Lance the Party Palmer, and I think that Lance Palmer probably might not be able to fight on future Rizin cards because, I mean, who knows what the hell he's doing these days. I mean, I know that he's involved with that. Huh?
Who are you talking about?
Lance Palmer. I mean, between Lance Palmer and AJ McKee, those were the two guys that were rumored to fight in Rizin before, of course, Patricky Pitbull. But now you got Lance Palmer doing this whole stupid-ass real American freestyle wrestling, brother. And then you got...
pretty cool. You guys see that?
Yeah, I didn't see any of it. But then you got him and you got AJ McKee still fighting in the PFL. I highly doubt that we're going to see either of them fight in Rizin as much as we will get more out of Patricky Pitbull.
KC, what were you saying? What was KC saying? He said a comment too that kind of got cut off.
Lance Palmer's kind of boring.
Is it because of the fact that he hasn't had a knockout win in almost 6 years?
How about a submission?
I see. I mean, he hasn't had a submission finish in 7 years.
And you said he was part of the Real American Freestyle Wrestling?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool show. I saw some highlights of it. I didn't get to watch the whole show, but it looked pretty cool. And it was like, Rizin Will Thrive says, what do you think was the best fight of the first Rizin event? That's a good question.
Come to think of it, that's easy. Rizin Will Thrive. It was the Aoki versus Sakuraba fight.
You saying that's the best one?
King Seal's about to have an aneurysm here.
It was the main event of the first show, to be honest. I mean, that's basically.
I would say,
like saying the best part of. I mean, that would basically be like saying, "Hey, the best part of a horror movie is when the first person dies."
Yeah.
Which one do you say is the first one for those best fight from the first one?
I'm gonna have a guilty pleasure. James Thompson versus TK. That heavyweight slop fest. That's how you do heavyweights right there. James Thompson had a mission there. He had a goal to put those fans out of their seats. Only if heavyweights today could accomplish the same thing.
And you will see that at the Rizin Heavyweight Grand Prix final this year and this month.
Oh, Lord. Okay. For the first event, I said the best fight of the first show was the main event. King CeeLo was King CeeLo said the best fight of the first show was the first fight. What say you, JayWolf? Real quick, what was your fight of the first Rising show that happened on December 29th, 2015?
Oh man, that's a tough one. There were some good ones. Would it be a Jerry fight? I don't know. Was that the one where Jerry knocked him out with grounded knees?
Yeah, he knocked out Toshi Ishii with knees.
After that, I'm gonna pick that one because that was one of the first Superior Rule Set finishes, if I remember correctly. Might even be the first Superior Rule Set finish of Rizin's history.
It was. I mean, if it had a card where the first no contest took place due to the fact that somebody missed weight, I mean, basically on purpose, then yeah, most definitely.
Then that's the one I'm picking. That was the first Superior Rule Set finish in Rizin's history with future UFC champion Jiri Prochazka, where he also, I heard the rumor that he was also responsible for having them he insisted on there being 10-minute first rounds, just like Almighty Pride FC style. So just all around awesomeness from Jiri Prochazka. So, hey, do we have time to, can we, KC, do you want to save the best fights for another show? So we do the next show with best events and best
anybody's thunder. You know, I think there's a best fight show coming up in a couple weeks.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, we're talking about We Are RIZIN. We're still in We Are RIZIN podcast thunder or something.
Yeah, let's just hold off on that. Let's see what they do.
Oh, okay.
We don't want to take all their viewers, you know.
I mean,
are you appearing on that show, KC?
I don't know. It depends what my contract says.
Oh, is that why you're withholding your best fight list and best event list this time? Oh, okay. I see how it goes.
I mean, kind of think of it as we do want to give Andrew his props as well. You know, you can check him out on Twitter and Instagram. And I mean, if you're watching this, you can check him out in the banner you see right on screen. If you're listening to this, you can check him out on Twitter. Well, fuck it. I'm not going to call it X. I'm just going to call it Twitter. It's at We Are RIZIN Pod. And on Twitter, Instagram, at A-Benja1. That's Andrew Benjamin's personal handle.
And he's going to have King CeeLo on to do his best events and best fights, right?
Perhaps.
I mean, but still, though, no matter if you're watching or listening to us, watching or listening to Andrew's project, or Shu Hirata and CJ, or even Ensign Inoue and the Yamato Damashi podcast, I mean, as long as more Rising coverage continues to percolate in your eardrums, you know damn well you can definitely listen or definitely know that some coverage of Rising is not that ignored, so to speak. You know that coverage for the Superior Rule Set is in there like swimwear without the chin hair. And before I can close this out on my own, JayWolf, is there anything you want to say as we close this out?
Oh, yeah. You can follow me at the Discord server. That's the Rising FF Fans Discord server. It's absolutely so much fun in there. KC's in there. We're all in there. It's just so much fun. I like it better than X or Twitter. It's just fun. You can troll, you can talk trash, you can do whatever you want. Only two rules we have is you cannot be racist and you cannot post illegal stream links. That's it. Everything else goes like the Wild West. Is freaking awesome. On Twitter, on X, you can follow me at JayYolf1. It's misspelled on purpose because that's when I first started commenting. There was a million other JayWolfs, and so I didn't want to be JayWolf, a bunch of numbers. So I just misspelled it. That's how you know it's me from way back in the day. And Aisha from the City Life Project podcast tells me I should keep it that way. I shouldn't add like an underscore and spell it correctly or something. I should just keep it unique like this. That's what I'm going to do. If you follow me and you're a real person, I'll follow you right back. I love talking with MMA fans and just appreciate you guys, everybody just listening, supporting the Epic Rising right here on Focus Fights. And you already put up Drew's stuff with the We Are RIZIN podcast. I hope he has King CeeLo on there. Make sure you guys check out that show. King CeeLo has a fantastic list of his best events. We couldn't get into the number one that was on there. but we know what it is, and it's really cool. It's one of the best ones. Our good friend Chief of the Jump, he said that he had one of the best quotes about the Epic Rising for that event in history, I think. He said, you could really feel the love radiating from the screen of the Epic Rising, meaning you could feel how much the Epic Rising cares about the sport of mixed martial arts. The love they have for the sport radiating from the screen of the Rising. I'm not going to say what the event it was, but the number one event on King CeeLo's chart that he has. It just really was fantastic. Ryzen really is, in my opinion, is peak mixed martial arts. It's just so awesome. And Jay Chris, just shout out to you. Thanks to you. I mean, we gave a shout out to the Combat Sports Today fam. Do you have a little banner for Aisha at Focus Fights? I mean, Aisha at City Life Project?
Well, actually, unfortunately, I do not.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Aisha, he's in the Discord server, and his podcast is the City Life Project. He does live watch-alongs, which I sometimes am in the comments and join them on, and we do previews of the Epic Rising. So I'll probably do a preview for this September 28th, Rising 51 with him, and right here at Focus Fights. And I'm also going to be Drew's going to have me on the We Are Rising podcast for 51. So there's going to be a couple of Grand Prix are going to be on there because, I'm Mr. Grand Prix. I love the Grand Prix. And just thank you so much. Thank you to King CeeLo as well for having these fantastic graphics. And, just King CeeLo's awesome. And Jay Chris for having us on and doing this show, man. This is great. Thank you. And to all the fans and stuff, everybody listening and watching, we appreciate you all the most.
Now see, I was about to basically say to King CeeLo in the private chat here, maybe you should put up the wind down clock and see how close you can get to saying, you guys like me. You really like me.
Wait, give me. If I get 2 more minutes, I can get 2 minutes, no problem.
Okay, but King CeeLo, you want to go ahead and tell the good folks how they can follow you? Because I know you had a presence on this site on YouTube, but it's been taken down. You had a Ryzen tribute video on here for the amount of time.
Not to get all conspiracy driven here, but I think it was Zuffa that took down my YouTube videos. They didn't want me speaking the great words of the Ryzen Fighting Federation. So I was taken off the YouTube platform. I was deplatformed, as you could say.
Wow.
I just don't use the YouTube anymore. There wasn't anything happening with the UFC promotion there. But yeah, thanks for having me on. I love putting together these lists. I love talking about these old events, just showcasing some of these older fighters that we don't think about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Where else can we really talk about Full Swing, having the soccer kick KO, a Trigger One? What other kind of podcasts are going to have that?
Exactly.
Thanks for having me on.
Not many, if at all. And, you're a founding member of Focus Fights, obviously, with myself, Michael Frazier, a.k.a. Framus, and Steve Carmen, who was the leader and, the founder of Focus Fights before he got off, and it was passed down to me to keep this shit going. But
yes, we're about to come up on our 10-year anniversary, too, of Focus Fights.
What was the actual date of the launch of Focus Fights? Around early 2016, right?
Yeah, I would say later 2016, 2017.
I see. So hopefully we're going to be able to do something for that. And, again, if you want to check out more of what we have in store, you can check out the Discord link. If you're watching on the screen, pause this damn video and screenshot it and copy and paste this damn thing. If you're listening, you can check out the description where you can get the links for not only the Discord, but for Focus Fights as well, where you can check out all of what we have in store and what makes us tick. And also you can check out my links, Twitter, Instagram, OnlyFans, Cash App, and all of that as well for myself, you can check out in the link in the description of this podcast as well. And Takumi basically said, thank you, everyone. I enjoyed. Hey, domo arigatou gozaimasu. We appreciate you enjoying what we have in store, and we hope that you can help spread the word about it, just as we hope you all enjoying this podcast have enjoyed all of what we had to say and all of what we will hope to continue to say as far as fight sports go, because it's only about 4 weeks to go before RIZIN 51 takes place, and we hope that y'all will enjoy every single second of it. So, for myself, for JayWolf, for King CeeLo, we thank y'all for enjoying all of what we have in store. We're glad you're part of RIZIN Fan Nation, and we're even grateful that you're enjoying us on Focus Fights Audio. That is it from us for now. As we say to you in closing, peace, my peoples in one love world. Protect yourself at all times. Take care of yourself and each other. Keep fighting, because you'll never know who might hear your story. And as we always say when it comes down to these RIZIN previews, reviews, and everything in between, as the great Lenny Hart always likes to say in closing, as the great Lenny Hart always likes to say in closing,
We are RIZIN!
Pride never die. Pride has risen.
damn right. And that's it. See y'all next time.
Bye.
Peace.